Chapter 262. Mr. Yi was so angry that he couldn't speak. He rolled his eyes and fainted. Yenran, don't worry about him. The Eastern aristocratic families are exhausted. They are now dying grasshoppers. They won't be able to jump for long. Chow Xiao, thank you. If you hadn't arrived just now, it would have been me who lost my spiritual power. Then Yenran lowered her head and said in a low voice, There are some things I don't remember. Have you saved me many times? Yenran, our relationship is long gone. You don't need to say thank you. This is natural. Whether you think of me or not, you are my goddess. Chow Xiao held Yenran's shoulders and made her face him. His eyes were full of light, like stars in the night sky. Yenran looked at Chow Xiao's godlike noble face and was in a trance. Many images overlapped. Ah! Yenran suddenly squatted down in pain and held her head. Chow Xiao was startled. Yenran, do you have a headache again? Don't think about it. Take your time. I can wait for you. Yenran's temples were throbbing, and she felt as if her brain was about to explode. That was where the image that had just jumped out of her memory had come from. Chow Xiao was scared and immediately hugged her. Yenran, let's find a place to rest first. It was close to dawn, the darkest time of the day. Yenran was still in her pajamas. Her mobile phone had been left in the collapsed house. Yenran looked at the messy manor. She could no longer live in it. She said to Chow Xiao, Let's go back to the hotel I used to live in. It was dawn when they returned to the hotel. The staff at the reception desk in the lobby of the hotel had fallen asleep on the table. Yenran, don't ask me to book another room. It's not good to disturb a girl's sleep. Yenran looked at it and agreed. But I don't even have the room card. How are we going to get in? They had no choice but to wake up the receptionist. Yenran went forward to book another room. Chow Xiao kept winking at the receptionist as if his eyes were cramping. The girl at the front desk, who was originally sleepy, suddenly opened her eyes wide. She mouthed silently, Are you Chow Xiao? Well, she was a fan of his. Chow Xiao could only smile. He waved his hand and mouthed back, Don't book a room. The little girl glanced at Yenran. Seeing that she was wearing pajamas, her eyes revealed an envious expression. Then, she secretly made a gesture of zipping up her mouth and gestured an okay to Chow Xiao. Then, she said to Yenran, Sorry, there are no vacant rooms. I can give you another room card. Yenran had no choice. Then, she took the room card and went back to the room with Chow Xiao. As soon as they entered the room, Chow Xiao immediately raised his hands and said, I'll sleep on the sofa. Don't be nervous, or you'll have a headache later. Yenran's face turned red involuntarily. At the moment when she closed the door, the picture of Chow Xiao pressing her against the wall and kissing her flashed through her mind. She looked at Chow Xiao suspiciously and then looked at his sexy thin lips. It was really strange. It turned out that she had been so intimate with him. The collapse of the house made the two of them dusty. After they finished washing up, it was already dawn. Chow Xiao directly closed the curtains tightly. The room was dark. Yenran, let's sleep for a while. You haven't slept all night. I guess you're very tired. Yenran's phone was missing. She sent an email to her superiors and told them about last night's situation. Then, she turned off the lights and went to sleep with Chow Xiao. Chow Xiao looked at Yenran, who fell asleep quickly on the big bed. He felt melancholy in his heart. Her warm and fragrant body was next to him, but he could only see and not touch it. Chow Xiao gradually fell asleep on the sofa as she let her imagination run wild. The two of them slept until the sky was dark. But after a few hours, Yenran, who was on the big bed, couldn't fall asleep because of the fluctuation of spiritual power in her body. She felt waves of spiritual power rampaging in her body. It wasn't as obedient as usual. Yenran lay on the bed and tried to use the cultivation method of the hibiscus chart to calm the spiritual power, but it didn't work at all. Yenran felt that this was Elder Ye's spiritual power that she absorbed today. It wasn't her original spiritual power. The external spiritual power and her own spiritual power were repelling each other. She directly sat up and ran the big circulation in her body. From her dantian, she directly guided the spiritual power to all the major meridians. But Elder Ye's spiritual power was too overbearing. Not only did it want to fill the original meridians, but it also wanted to drive out Yenron's original spiritual power. The two spiritual powers fought in the body just like that. And as soon as Yenran moved, she immediately woke up Xiao Xiao. He saw Yenran sitting on the bed in pain, desperately trying to resist something, suppressing something. He thought Yenron's head hurt again. He quickly climbed onto the bed and helped her massage her temples. But Yenran directly shook her head and refused. Xiao Xiao, not here, but the whole body. Xiao Xiao saw that Yenran was sweating all over and her brows were wrinkled. She seemed to be in great pain. He anxiously wanted to help her, but he didn't know where to start. He remembered that Yenran, who had taken the antidote of the panacea before, was also in great pain. At that time, he used magical power to instill some into her dantian. It seemed to have some effect. This time, he put his palm on Yenron's back. A trace of magical power slowly entered Yenron's body. After entering, Xiao Xiao was shocked. The spiritual power in Yenron's body was like two dragons running around, not listening to the command at all. Yenron's meridians became their battlefield. Yenron's original spiritual power was very rich. She was like an obedient guardian, holding a shield and guarding her position. And the external spiritual power was attacking the shield with a spear. Sure enough, Elder Yi was not a good person. He didn't know how much of the spiritual power in his body was formed by eating elixirs. It was not his own cultivation. It seemed to have countless impurities. Garbage. He actually dared to put all these garbage into Yenron's body. Xiao Zhao's heart was furious. He urged the spiritual power in his body and continuously entered Yenron's back through his palm. There was a third force that entered Yenron's body, but it made her more painful. Yenran kept twisting her back, trying to break free from Xiao Zhao's palm. Yenran, bear with it, I'll help you get rid of those garbage. Yenran clenched her teeth and endured the discomfort in her body. She let Xiao Zhao's magical power enter her body. Xiao Zhao's magical power went straight down to Yenron's dantian. His magical power was pure and rich. It was all cultivated by him since he was a child. It was the same as Yenron's original spiritual power. After the two met, it was completely different from Elder Ye's spiritual power. Instead, it was like a good friend who hadn't seen each other for many years. Xiao Xiao was overjoyed. It seemed that Yenron's spiritual power did not reject his magical power. Yenran, let's work together and get rid of Elder Ye's garbage. Yenran nodded obediently. She also returned her spiritual power to her dantian. It entangled with Xiao Zhao's magical power in her dantian, twisting and gradually mixing into one. While Elder Ye's spiritual power was originally in his dantian, part of it was still bumping around. At this time, when Xiao Zhao's magical power entered, he became an isolated third party and began to hit walls everywhere. In his dantian, he had already lost the high ground that he originally occupied. Elder Ye's spiritual power quickly transferred to other meridians, and Xiao Xiao and Elder Yi had already twisted into a rope, waving flags and shouting behind. They chased after Elder Ye's spiritual power in a panic and went straight up the Ran and Du meridians. Yenron's body was a lot smoother. She was finally no longer disturbed by the garbage spiritual power. Elder Ye's spiritual power had been forced above his neck, but this was the blockage that Yenran had not yet connected. When Elder Ye's spiritual power reached here, he found that there was no place in front of him, and there were tigers and beasts crazily chasing behind him. He did not care anymore and crazily hit the blockage. Yenran was in unbearable pain from this hit. Her sitting body could no longer support, and suddenly fell into Xiao Zhao's arms. Xiao Zhao's palm was dislocated, and the spiritual power in Yenron's body began to move crazily again. Yenran, hold on, the method just now worked. He's bumping around in my head. It hurts. Yenran shook her head desperately, trying to shake this deceptive spiritual power away. Yenran, don't move, let me use my magical power to help you. Xiao Xiao wanted to hold Yanran in place, but Yanran was tortured by the pain and could not control herself at all. Xiao Xiao held Yanran's head in his arms and wanted to use his palms to press on both sides of her temples, but Yanran did not listen to his command at all. Her head was crazily twisting around in his chest, and her hair was all scattered. Her 2 legs were constantly kicking. Xiao Xiao was so anxious that his whole body was sweating. He looked at Yanran in his arms, and painfully opened her mouth, gasping for breath. Suddenly, he had an idea. He bent down and kissed Yanran's red lips, as if he was doing artificial respiration, and breathed in his magical power. Yanran felt the strangeness in her mouth and stopped struggling. She opened her eyes wide and found that Xiao Xiao was kissing her. She was about to break away, but suddenly found that the magical power had reached her brain through her mouth. The pain in her brain suddenly decreased, and Xiao Xiao's magical power and her own spiritual power automatically merged into one, launching a total attack on the garbage spiritual power. The garbage spiritual power, which was originally singing and dancing, was suddenly slapped to the ground by another strong person, and could not get up for a long time. Then Xiao Xiao's magical power and Yanran's spiritual power directly swept the garbage out of the door, and madly chased after it until it was directly chased to her navel. Yanran's abdomen was constantly contracting and releasing, and waves of spiritual power poured out of her small navel and dissipated in the air little by little. Yanran finally felt much better. The spiritual power in her body, under the guidance of Xiao Xiao's magical power, ran a few circulations, and drove out the garbage spiritual power little by little. Xiao Xiao continued to inject magical power into Yanran's mouth, making Yanran's head more and more dizzy. Some memories from the depths of her body came back, and Yanran could not help but take the initiative to respond. Originally, Xiao Xiao was wholeheartedly doing artificial respiration, but suddenly he felt Yanran's lips and tongue move, and his heart began to beat wildly. The feeling of being intimate for a long time had already made him very thirsty. He made a sound from his throat, and it was really hard to refuse Yanran's invitation. He suddenly hugged Yanran tightly, wanting to embed her into his flesh and blood, and then take over the city, charge and break through the enemy, showing the true colors of a man. Chapter 263. The two kissed on the big bed for who knows how long. Yanran's 2 hands were fixed by Xiao Xiao at 90 degrees on both sides of her head, while Xiao Xiao's hairy head was above her neck. Yanran's head was dizzy until all the garbage spiritual power in her body was released. She couldn't help but raise her head, bringing her neck closer to Xiao Xiao's lips and tongue. She had no idea how tempting her white and slender strawberry-covered neck was in Xiao Xiao's eyes. Xiao Xiao released the 2 hands that were fixed on Yanran's head. One hand reached behind her neck and hugged her soft jade shoulder. The other hand gently pulled open the neckline of her pajamas. Looking at the straight and sexy collarbone, Xiao Xiao's Adam's apple moved up and down fiercely. Then, he carefully covered the neckline like a treasure. Yanran slightly opened her misty eyes and took the initiative to hug Xiao Xiao's slender waist. As if she had done it 1,000 times, she directly reached her hand into the hem of Xiao Xiao's clothes and could not help but touch the smooth and textured chest muscles that she could not help but touch. Hiss! Xiao Xiao was stimulated and took a deep breath. He held down Yanran's small hands and took her out of his body. He put Yanran's small hands to his mouth and kissed them. At the same time, he asked in a hoarse voice, "Ran, do you remember me?" At this time, Yanran's dreamy eyes finally had a trace of clarity. She looked at Xiao Xiao in confusion. "Remember what?" Xiao Xiao laughed softly and put one of Yanran's fingers to his lips. "What, are you silly again?" Yanran finally realized that she was really awake. Looking at her and Xiao Xiao's posture, she suddenly blushed and pulled her hand back. She pushed Xiao Xiao to the side and sat up straight on the bed, putting her hands behind her back. I still can't remember," Yanran murmured. Xiao Xiao did not get up. He directly turned over on the bed, supported his chin with his hand, and looked at Yanran with a smile. "Yanran, although your mind can't remember, your body is very honest." After saying that, he licked his lips with satisfaction, like a cat that had eaten its fill. Yanran really wanted to find a hole and stuff herself in after hearing Xiao Xiao's words. She said incoherently, "Xiao Xiao, why don't you take a cold shower? After saying that, she was stunned. Why did this sentence come out of her mouth? And Xiao Xiao was in a good mood. He turned over and got out of bed. I'll go right now. Soon, there was the sound of the water sound came from the bathroom. At this moment, Yenran's wildly beating heart finally found some rhythm. She covered her cheeks. Why was she so impetuous? Could it be that he was like this in the past? Or was this evildoer too tempting? It was an hour later when they sat in the dining room to eat. Everything seemed to be a little different. Although Yenran still kept a distance from Xiao Xiao, the coldness in her eyes was gone. They seemed to have returned to the time when they first fell in love. A look, a slight touch of body, they became particularly sensitive. Xiao Xiao, why are you in the manor? Xiao Xiao almost spat out a mouthful of porridge. He couldn't possibly say that he had secretly located her mobile phone. Xiao Xiao rolled his eyes and said, "At that time, I was tracking the Eastern aristocratic family and happened to see them appear at the airport in Nanchuan. A group of people was very conspicuous. I overheard that they were coming to the north. I thought that since you were here, they might be coming for you, so I secretly took the same flight as them. I didn't expect that these F***ers were really coming for you." Yenran nodded. "Yesterday, I already reported this matter to the higher-ups. They added another crime to the list. They want to silence me." Yenran, is the evidence I found useful? Yes, with this first-hand evidence, it's useless no matter how they try to quibble. That's good. I didn't work so hard for so many days in vain. Xiao Xiao said wittily, "What are you going to do next?" "It depends on my superiors. They left a good impression on me." When he saw the evidence, he was filled with righteous indignation. He was also very concerned about my safety, so he deliberately left me in his manor. He said that he would think of a way to deal with the rest. Yenran, how do you think Mr. Yi and the others know that you are in the manor? I don't know about this. I don't know what went wrong. I only called you once. Could it be that our conversation was monitored? That's possible. It's very likely that the Eastern aristocratic family will take this step based on their style of doing things. But Yenran, do you think that the superiors accidentally revealed it? I don't think so. He's a very calm and cautious person. He's knowledgeable and thoughtful. With so many years of work experience, I think he should have a strong anti-reconnaissance ability. Xiao Xiao heard Yenran praise the superiors and felt a little jealous. Is your superior so good? How old is he? About 40 years old. But because of the nature of his work, he was married and then divorced. Xiao Xiao frowned. Why did he even tell you such a private thing? This is just a chat. We are all in the cultivation world and have common topics. Xiao Xiao stopped asking. He always felt that Yenran's accident this time was strange. I will help you get a new mobile phone first. It's too inconvenient without a mobile phone. I can't contact you if anything happens. So Xiao Xiao took the opportunity to help Yenran get a new mobile phone and reinstall the GPS in it. The next day, Yenran received an email from the superiors, asking her to talk in detail at the place where they met last time. As soon as she walked into the private room last time, she saw that the superiors had been waiting for a long time. He was wearing a long coat today, which had been taken off and hung on the hanger next to him. A gray turtleneck sweater vividly set off the mature temperament of this 40-year-old man. He was very tall. Yenran only reached his shoulder. Yenran estimated that he should be a few centimeters taller than Xiao Xiao. He looked slender and imposing. Today, he was wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, which made him look very elegant. As soon as Yenran came in, he immediately stood up and helped Yenran take off her coat and hang it on the hanger next to him. Then he helped Yenran pull out the sofa chair, blocked the table in front of her with his hand, and helped her sit down. Yenran was a little flattered. "Minister Zhou, you don't have to be so polite. Beautiful lady, you should at least let me show some gentlemanly manners," the superior said gently. What followed was a series of questions, asking in detail about what happened that night. Yenran answered one by one. When the superiors heard that a friend of hers had saved him, He looked at Yen Ran with some blame. I told you not to reveal your whereabouts to anyone. Is this person so important? Your phone must have been monitored by them. I brought you a special mobile phone today. You can use it in the future. It has anti-surveillance and anti-tracking functions. Yen Ran quickly refused. I already bought a new mobile phone. No. The superiors immediately pressed Yen Ran's hand. Yen Ran, this is the organization's arrangement. It is also a special mobile phone for you. There is a special line in it. You can contact me at any time. As long as it is your call, I will be online 24 hours a day. Yen Ran, you handled the crisis very well this time. The Eastern aristocratic families are at the end of their rope. They are no longer worthy of being people of the cultivation world. Old Ye's spiritual power should have been destroyed long ago. Yen Ran was praised by the superiors, and there was a trace of sweetness in her heart. And the next words of the superiors let her see hope and dawn. Yen Ran, I have reported the crimes of the Eastern aristocratic families to the superiors, but the superiors still need to study and confirm the process. Old Yi has no spiritual power and is no longer suitable to be the leader of the Eastern aristocratic families. I want you to take over everything in the cultivation world. How about letting you take charge of the cultivation world? This? I am still young. I have never thought about it. I have always wanted to announce the crimes of the Eastern aristocratic families to the public. I have never thought about anything else. Yen Ran, just because you have never thought about it doesn't mean it is impossible. You are a fine horse. Since you have been discovered by me, Bo Lu, don't refuse. Think about it, who else in the cultivation world can take on this heavy responsibility? Your grandfather was originally a very good candidate, but now his spiritual power is exhausted, and he is old. The cultivation world needs reform and innovation, and you are the best candidate. The superior said sincerely and earnestly. Yen Ran thought about it herself. What the superior said was indeed reasonable. Then what do you need me to do now? I want you to directly drive all the cultivators who originally followed Old Yi to commit crimes out of the cultivation world, and let them become normal human beings. Now I want the entire cultivation world to be left with some elites who are extremely loyal to the organization. You have already collected all the names of the criminals. I agree that you can directly punish them. For the small fries below who have not been in contact with the superiors and are just following orders, don't punish them anymore. For the key figures above, abolish all their spiritual power. I will put them in prison. Everything was arranged reasonably by the higher-ups. Yen Ran nodded her head repeatedly as she listened. With a good leader, she was willing to work for him. After they finalized some details, Yen Ran left the tea house. Looking at the blue sky without a trace of haze, the dark clouds that had been suppressed in her heart for many years finally gradually thinned, dissipated, and floated in the clouds. In the end, the superiors took Yen Ran's hand and said to her seriously, Yen Ran, I like you. Although I am a little old, I hope I can have the opportunity to take care of you. Can the two of us work together in the cultivation world and create a broader sky? Yen Ran withdrew her hand in a panic. She did not expect the superiors to say such words. The image of Qiao Zhao's jealous face appeared in her mind. She quickly replied, Director Zhou, I already have a boyfriend. I'm sorry. As long as you are not married, I have the right to pursue you. You are such an excellent girl. You should have multiple choices. Put me on your list of candidates and think about it. How about it? Marriage is a matter of life. It is not only about the compatibility of the body, but more importantly, the companionship of the soul. Yen Ran, we have a common goal, a common career, and endless topics to talk about. With me, you will never be spiritually empty. Think about it carefully. Don't refuse me to get along with you. In the end, Yen Ran escaped from the tea house. Chapter 264. It had to be said that Shangfeng was a very charming person. He was mature and decisive. After seeing that Mr. Ye's sneak attack failed, he knew that he had to change his strategy. Yen Ran was a powerful existence. If he fought with her, he might have a chance to win. But with Xiao Xiao, it was hard to say. He had been dissatisfied with the Eastern aristocratic families for a long time. After so many years, he had already taken all the wool he could get from them. Now it was a mess. He was worried that he couldn't clean it up. He might as well take advantage of Yanran's investigation results and completely abandon them. Besides Mr. Yi, Ming Tian should also know about his existence. Yesterday, he went to deal with Ming Tian decisively. The Eastern aristocratic families were in charge of alchemy. Not only did they give him a lot of panacea, but they also gave him a lot of other elixirs. Among them, he felt that the most convenient one was the amnesia pill. This kind of peerless elixir was very rare. There were only 2 of them. These 2 were very suitable for Mr. Yi and Ming Tian. He also had to restrain himself for a while. The overseas casinos were almost in operation. For the time being, they could operate normally without new funds. What he had to do was to make the whole cultivation world really work for him and become one with him. The best way for a woman to fall in love with her man was to make her fall in love with her heart and body. As for the matter of her having a little boyfriend, young people would have such a period. At this age, boys' and girls' hormones were more developed, but for a girl as cold as Yanran, the possibility of her being a slut was very high. He would make Yanran so busy that she might not even see him once a month. Xiongfeng smiled coldly. He believed in his charm. This Yanran was still very much to his taste. Finally, he met a girl that he was willing to pursue. That little boyfriend was destined to be a speck of dust in Yanran's life. Xiao Xiao, who was labeled as a speck of dust by his superiors, was busy with his own business. Coincidentally, he had an advertisement to shoot in Beifong City. After parting ways with Yanran, he went straight to the scene. Jing Shu was really speechless towards her boss. Other celebrities were fighting for resources to appear on camera, but Xiao Xiao only appeared occasionally. However, Xiao Xiao also spoke eloquently. He was still a university student and prioritized his studies. The entertainment industry was just a hobby. However, Xiao Xiao's star entertainment was developing very fiercely in the industry. Several artists signed under his name were gradually becoming popular. Of course, Xiao Xiao had a lot of credit for this. He crossed over a bit fiercely, and the contacts he knew were gradually increasing. His eloquent mouth coupled with a face that could captivate people in a blink of an eye could make resources come at the drop of a hat. At first, Jing Shu still had time to complain, but after her boss acted coquettishly towards her, she threw herself into the crazy business of making money for her boss. Today's advertisement was rejected several times by Xiao Xiao. The manufacturer said that as long as it was Xiao Xiao, they wouldn't shoot it if it was someone else. They wanted to release it when Xiao Xiao's movie was released. Xiao Xiao had to take advantage of this free time, swaying his 2 arms and came to the agreed shooting location. Jing Shu had already been waiting there with bags of bags. "Boss, you finally came. If you didn't come, the female lead would go on strike." Jing Shu saw Xiao Xiao and excitedly greeted him. Xiao Xiao looked up and saw a woman wearing a fashionable coat sitting on a bench. A few people were surrounding her and talking to her. "Didn't I say, it has to be me? How come there's also a female lead? I heard that this girl's background is not small." The higher-up said something and temporarily added her. "But I saw her. She looks very beautiful and has a cute and playful temperament. Have you read the script of the advertisement?" Jing Shu asked worriedly. "I read it once 2 days ago. It's an inspirational chapter for youth. I've already memorized it," Xiao Xiao said as if he didn't care. Because of the addition of a female lead, the director said that the script had been adjusted. "This is the latest one. Take a look." Jing Shu showed the latest script to Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao saw that there weren't many adjustments to his scene. He only added some eye contact with the girl. "This is simple. It's a small case." Jing Shu immediately smiled. She knew that her boss was a treasure. Ever since she became a mother's fan, watching her son become more and more successful day by day, she was especially proud in her heart. Once again, she was proud of her successful transformation. Chow Zhao's advertisement was shot outdoors. It was a well-known brand's mobile phone advertisement. The mobile phone's positioning was mainly targeted at young people. Chow Zhao's own technological elements, so the manufacturer unanimously agreed that Chow Zhao was the most suitable candidate. Chow Zhao's interaction with the girl was him taking the initiative to give the mobile phone to the girl and help her take photos at the same time. Although Chow Zhao thought that he could finish the advertisement in a cool manner by himself, he didn't care if the organizer wanted to add a female lead. At the beginning, he kept running. He ran up a mountain, then jumped up the mountain, took a selfie, froze, and automatically transmigrated in front of a girl. This girl was participating in a school sports meet. Chow Zhao needed to use the mobile phone to help the girl take a side profile photo while running. Then, he gave the mobile phone to the girl and said to her, "My favorite girl is in the photo album." Then, the girl opened the photo album and saw the beautiful photo that was taken casually. This advertisement showed the mobile phone's most outstanding dynamic photography performance. The script was very simple, but the first half required Chow Zhao to show the heroism of climbing the mountain and looking at the small mountains. The mountain was actually a small slope Chow Zhao saw, but later on, it would be made into a scene of white snow. Chow Zhao thought carefully. He had to show the joy of successfully climbing the mountain and the sense of accomplishment of looking down on the world. When he was acting with a female lead, he had to show the campus feeling of using the new mobile phone to confess to the female lead. When Chow Zhao saw the female lead, he realized that she was really a cute girl with a campus feeling. Her eyebrows were lively and she was beautiful. The most prominent feature on her face was her pair of eyes that were bigger than the average girl's. Her eyes were very black and they kept turning. When she saw Chow Zhao, she smiled shyly. "I know you. You're Chow Zhao. I'm Wu Mei." That bashful smile was like a budding flower, weak but bold, blooming outwards, making people feel very comfortable looking at it. Chow Zhao had a good impression of her. Then it was time for the official shooting. The director looked very serious, but he was also humorous. "Chow Zhao, I have faith in you. Your image is very suitable for the advertisement. You can just act as yourself." The director saw Chow Zhao change his clothes and gave him a thumbs up. Chow Zhao had acted in movies before, so he knew that the shooting work was not done overnight. After he changed his clothes, he sat on the chair and waited. After a while, Wu Mei also changed her clothes and came out. She was wearing a loose sports top and a pair of tight-fitting sports shorts. Wu Mei's figure was really good. Her two slender and fair legs extended to her bare buttocks under the sports shorts. Chow Zhao took a look and closed his eyes, while the other male compatriots couldn't help but look over. After Wu Mei sat down and saw the surrounding people's eyes, she felt a little embarrassed. She shrunk slightly towards Chow Zhao and found a blanket to cover her legs. Then she whispered to Chow Zhao, "I'm sorry, this is all arranged by the director." Chow Zhao had read the script and knew that Wu Mei was going to participate in the sprint in the sports meeting. It was normal for her to wear such sportswear. She was not like the other celebrities in the entertainment industry. She was already used to such things and openly allowed others to look at her. She was obviously a conservative girl and was still a little shy under the gaze of others. Chow Zhao glanced at the surrounding men. His eyes were a little cold. After the eye contact, they all stopped looking at Wu Mei. Wu Mei nodded to Chow Zhao and said in a low voice, "Thank you." Chow Zhao couldn't help but be curious. The entertainment circle is a big dive at. How can a shy girl like you survive in it? Wu Mei looked at Chow Zhao with big deer-like eyes. "Although I'm shy, I like acting." There was timidity in her eyes, but more than that, there was determination. Chow Zhao looked at her steadily. "Then you have to overcome the timidity in your heart. Many of the scenes will be bigger." "Then have you acted in any big scenes?" "I'm a boy, so I don't encounter this kind of thing. I don't have many works, so I haven't seen any yet." "Thank you, Brother Chow. I'll slowly overcome it in the future." At this time, the director heard their conversation and said, "Don't worry too much. The entertainment circle is much better than before. The most important thing is to keep yourself clean. The most important thing is your acting. The director's speech is better. Wu Mei, you can't go wrong if you listen to the director. Finally, it was Qiao Zhao's turn. He took 2 steps on the spot with his phone. The director asked him to adjust his posture. The phone had to be placed in a prominent position. Then, Qiao Zhao sprinted towards the hill. The scene had to be filmed. His running in slow motion, the shaking of the muscles on his arms, and the dripping of sweat on his head would be filmed in slow motion. There was no problem with the shaking of the muscles, but to make Qiao Zhao sweat, and the kind of sweat that covered his head and face, was a little difficult for him. Ever since he mastered his demonic arts, there were very few things that could make him sweat profusely. The director simply sprayed some water on his head, but it didn't look real. At this moment, Wu Mei suggested in a soft voice, "Brother Qiao, aren't you very good at street dancing? Why don't you do it for us? Will you sweat profusely?" Qiao Zhao's eyes lit up. What a smart girl. So, he directly started street dancing on the spot. He purposely did a lot of difficult movements. Sure enough, after a while, he was sweating profusely. This is a good situation. Come, let's try to get it done in one take. The director looked at Qiao Zhao, who was sweating profusely. His eyes were shining. It was completely different from the way he sprayed water just now. He was pursuing this kind of realistic feeling. Qiao Zhao strode forward with his long legs and rushed up from the bottom of the hill. With a few strides, his vigorous body was like a running cheetah. His speed was astonishing. Within a minute, he had rushed from the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill. Chapter 265. Good. The director couldn't help but shout. Then he broke into a smile. This was the feeling of running to the extreme. The audience couldn't help but applaud. Qiao Zhao is so cool. His speed is amazing. Look at Qiao Zhao. He's not even out of breath. Awesome. The mountain doesn't look high. It'll take at least 10 minutes to run. Qiao Zhao has long legs. One of his steps is equivalent to 10 of yours. After this route was completed perfectly, it was time to take a selfie at the top of the mountain. Qiao Zhao originally thought that he was going to take a selfie with his phone, but the director asked him to fix the phone on the rock in front of him and pose in front of the phone. This was much easier. After Qiao Zhao fixed the phone, he squatted down and jumped according to the director's request. He clenched his right fist and waved it in the air. He had to show extreme pride on his face. Qiao Zhao recalled the day when he was extremely proud of himself. It was the day when he and Yan Ran were engaged. He directly thought that the phone in front of him was Yan Ran. Recalling his excitement on that day, he jumped and waved his fist, full of pride overflowing from the corner of his mouth. Success on the first try. After Qiao Zhao went down the mountain, Wu Mei quietly asked him, "What were you thinking of just now? Why did you do it so naturally?" Qiao Zhao smiled but didn't answer. He was still immersed in the memory of that day. But on second thought, Yan Ran actually forgot about him. The smile on the corner of his mouth immediately disappeared. Qiao Zhao's segment took the whole morning. The director called for a break and they would start the second half in the afternoon. Jing Shu hurried forward to give her boss a sumptuous lunch. Beside her, Wu Mei had already put on a pair of trousers and was eating with the rest of the crew. Qiao Zhao looked at the 4 dishes and 1 soup that Jing Shu had laid out for him. Then, he looked at Wu Mei's 4 dishes and 1 bowl. He directly picked up a drumstick and put it in Wu Mei's bowl. Wu Mei smiled gratefully at Qiao Zhao. Then, she picked up a small piece of meat from his 4 snacks and gave it to Qiao Zhao. Uncle Jing looked at the interaction between the 2 of them and felt sour in his heart. "Boss, you've never given me any food before." Qiao Zhao glanced at Jing Shu. "It's all your fault. Why did you have to give me a special treatment? Look, everyone else is eating boxed lunches. I'm the only one who's so grand. It's as if I'm a director." The director reached over with his chopsticks and took away Qiao Zhao's other drumstick. "Yes, I'm the director. This is for me." It was sent to the wrong place. The few of them laughed heartily. Wu Mei's eyes flashed. Looking at this shockingly handsome boy, who turned out to be so humorous, she really couldn't take her eyes off him. After the lunch break, the afternoon scenes began. Naturally, Wu Mei was the first to be filmed. The scene had been designed as a running track on the campus. There were several extras running with her, and the camera was mainly focused on Wu Mei. The other people around her were just shadows. The slide for filming had been set up. Wu Mei was doing the final warm-up. Her long and tender legs were exposed again. At this time, she was bending over and stretching. Her round little butt was raised just like that, facing Qiao Xiao. Qiao Xiao turned his face away and chatted casually with Jing Shu. The few men around them winked at each other, and from time to time, they would smile knowingly. The director shouted, "Start!" and Wu Mei ran out from the starting point like the wind. Her running posture was very good, as if she had specially trained. The range of her arms and the angle of her legs were very standard. She was very beautiful when she ran. After a few seconds, the director shouted, "Cut!" "Wu Mei, your expression. Don't put on a heroic look. You have to smile. Smile happily. You have to show your most beautiful side to attract Qiao Xiao." When the director said this, Wu Mei couldn't help but blush. She glanced at Qiao Xiao, who was standing beside her, and quickly lowered her head to apologize. Sorry. I'll do it again." After running 7 or 8 times in a row, the director wasn't satisfied. He directly told Wu Mei to take a break and build up her feelings before running again. At this time, Wu Mei was sweating profusely. She was wearing such thin clothes in the winter, and it was easy to catch a cold when the wind blew. "Qiao Xiao, help Wu Mei find the feeling of a goddess," the director instructed. Qiao Xiao touched his nose. His goddess was Yan Ran, but she was completely different from Wu Mei. She looked delicate and weak. How could she be his goddess? But since the director had instructed, Qiao Xiao had no choice. He could only brace himself and describe Yan Ran's usual temperament. "Wu Mei, you have to act cold and aloof. When you run, focus more. Make it seem like you're the best in the world." The people around them laughed. Wu Mei's face was bitter. "This is completely different from my personality. Acting means you have to act as another person. Think about it. Who do you think is cold and aloof?" Qiao Xiao continued to enlighten her. But Wu Mei's cute little head only shook left and right. "I've never seen a girl like this." Qiao Xiao had no choice but to imitate Yan Ran's expressionless face for Wu Mei to see. Wu Mei looked at the different Qiao Xiao, who was cold and aloof, and laughed until she was convulsing. Seeing that it was about time, the director called for them to start again. This time, Wu Mei imitated Qiao Xiao completely. She was expressionless, but there was a smile in her eyes. After running past the finish line, the director finally called for them to finish. In the next scene, Qiao Xiao was holding his phone to take a picture. This was a split shot, and the 2 shots would be overlapped in the post-production. Qiao Xiao was startled this time. He stared blankly at the girl running on the track and couldn't help but pick up his phone to take a picture of the girl. Qiao Xiao directly imagined the empty track as Yan Ran running on it. At this time, he was already stunned. Yan Ran ran to him with a smile and said to him directly, "Ah Xiao, take a picture of me." Qiao Xiao unconsciously picked up his phone and snapped a picture of Yan Ran in the air. He froze Yan Ran's smile on the screen. The director was very satisfied. Qiao Xiao got into the role quickly. He was real and not pretentious. He was really a good seedling. In the last scene, Qiao Xiao created an opportunity. The two accidentally bumped into each other, and Qiao Xiao's phone fell to the ground. The girl picked it up and saw a message on the phone. "There's a picture of my favorite girl in the album." She looked up and saw the encouragement in the handsome boy's eyes. She opened the photo album on her phone and saw that the photo of her running was very clear. This was Wu Mei's true character. Qiao Xiao pretended to panic and bumped into Wu Mei, who was about to enter the changing room, and accidentally dropped the phone on the ground. Wu Mei cried out softly and looked at Qiao Xiao with startled eyes. Then, she apologized very apologetically and immediately squatted down to help Xiao Xiao pick up the phone. Xiao Xiao also immediately squatted down and said, "It's my fault." The two of them picked up the phone at the same time. Xiao Xiao's big hand covered Wu Mei's small hand. Xiao Xiao immediately retracted his hand as if he had been burned. At the same time, his face was slightly red and he looked at Wu Mei with bright eyes. Wu Mei was about to return the phone to Xiao Xiao, but Xiao Xiao pushed the phone into Wu Mei's hand and signaled her to look at the screen. Wu Mei looked down and saw a WeChat message. "There's a picture of my favorite girl in the album." Wu Mei's hand trembled. She looked at Xiao Xiao's magical eyes and opened the album to see the picture of her running. Then, the two of them gradually looked at each other as if there were stars shining between them. "Cut. Pass." The director shouted excitedly. "Xiao Xiao, Wu Mei, your performance this time was amazing. No one would believe you if you said you weren't lovers." Wu Mei immediately blushed. Just now, she had indeed acted as herself and was brought into the plot. It was as if everything was real. The day's filming finally came to a successful end. Next was the post-production. The other members of the crew insisted that the director treat them. The director wasn't stingy and joked, "It's all the manufacturer's money. The manufacturer will treat." Then, the group of people went to the restaurant. After a few rounds of toasting, everyone started joking. "Xiao Xiao, Wu Mei, the two of you really acted like a first love. Why don't you make it real? Teachers, please don't joke like this. My girlfriend would kill me." Xiao Xiao directly rejected. F***ck, such a handsome young man already has a girlfriend. Wu Mei is going to be sad. The smile on Wu Mei's face instantly froze. However, she quickly recovered. "Brother Xiao is so outstanding. How could he like me? Teachers, please don't randomly matchmake." Then, she directly went to the washroom. Xiao Xiao didn't mind and continued joking with everyone. The other teacher also left his seat. Xiao Xiao was a little too drunk. He wasn't drunk, but he wanted to pee. After a while, he also went to the washroom. After peeing, he came out and turned the corner of the stairs. Suddenly, he heard a sound. It seemed to be Wu Mei. She struggled and begged for mercy. "Please, let me go. I'm not that kind of person." The more Xiao Xiao heard, the more he felt that something was wrong. He directly walked out from the corner and saw Wu Mei being pressed against the wall. Xiao Xiao walked up and pulled the secretary away. He fiercely said, "What are you doing?" The secretary seemed to have drunk a little too much. At this time, he directly rushed into the washroom and vomited. When Wu Mei saw Xiao Xiao, she immediately threw herself into his arms. Xiao Xiao was pushed back a step. He wanted to push her away, but Wu Mei hugged him tightly and then started crying. She looked delicate and pitiful. Xiao Xiao's hand stopped in mid-air. He really couldn't pull her away. He could only gently pat her back and comfort her. "It's okay, it's okay. He must have been drunk just now." Under the dim corridor lights, a man who looked more handsome than Pan and comforted a delicate woman. The scene was so beautiful that people who wanted to go to the washroom took a detour. Finally, the woman's crying became much softer. She raised her teary eyes from Xiao Xiao's embrace and looked at Xiao Xiao in a daze. Her voice was so soft that only Xiao Xiao could hear it. "Thank you, brother Xiao." Xiao Xiao finally let out a sigh of relief. Just as he was about to bring Wu Mei back to the room, he looked up and saw Yanran standing at the other end of the corridor. She was looking at him fixedly. Her eyes were calm, but there seemed to be thousands of words flowing in them. Chapter 266. Xiao Xiao saw Yanran and called out in surprise, "Yanran." Then he pushed Wu Mei away and let her go back to the private room. He walked straight to Yanran. Xiao Xiao habitually wanted to hug Yanran's shoulder, but Yanran turned around and walked downstairs. Xiao Xiao hurried to catch up with Yanran and said with a smile, "You came to pick me up so soon?" Yanran replied expressionlessly, I saw your message and came over. I just came to tell you that I'll be very busy during this time. Starting tonight, I'll be traveling all over the country. Ah, Yenran, are you in such a hurry? I'll go with you. Don't forget that I'm also a member of the cultivation world. Yenran suddenly stopped, turned around, and looked straight into Qiao Zhao's eyes. Are you sure you're my boyfriend? Qiao Zhao was anxious. Of course. How can it be fake? Then why were you hugging other girls just now? Yenran's face was very calm. She was neither angry nor anxious. She just calmly stated this fact. That was just an accident. She was with me. Before Qiao Zhao could finish his words, Yenran interrupted him directly. If you're my boyfriend, please be self-aware. Then she turned around and walked away. Qiao Zhao chased after her and took her hand. Yenran flung it away. If you're my boyfriend, I won't tolerate this kind of thing. Don't follow me anymore. I'm leaving soon. At this moment, a small female voice suddenly came from behind. Brother Qiao. Qiao Zhao heard the voice and subconsciously turned his head. He met Wu Mei's eyes full of love. Yenran saw Wu Mei's eyes and felt a strange feeling in her heart. It was a little sour and a little bloated. She felt very uncomfortable. By the time Qiao Zhao turned around, Yenran had already disappeared. Qiao Zhao wanted to chase after him, but Wu Mei pulled him back. Brother Qiao, the director asked me to call you. Also, Wu Mei asked hesitantly, Brother Qiao, is that your girlfriend? Did she misunderstand us? Qiao Zhao scratched his hair in annoyance. Looking at the vast night sky, he didn't know where to find Yenran. Fortunately, he still had Yenran's location. After returning to the private room, Qiao Zhao found that the field reporter had already left. The group of people chatted for a while and the dinner was over. Qiao Zhao was even more absent-minded and returned to the hotel early. He searched for Yenran's location and saw that she was already on a plane flying to another city. F***CK. It was really annoying. Qiao Zhao returned to Nanchuan to continue his studies and career. He thought that Yenran would be the same as him. He returned to the school quickly. But only after asking Bai Shui did he know that Yenran directly applied to the school for an internship. Bai Shui looked at him strangely. Qiao Zhao, aren't you her boyfriend? How come you don't even know where she is? Qiao Zhao was speechless. I just came back from shooting and didn't have time to contact her. After saying that, he ran away. Yenran misunderstood him. He couldn't find her and didn't even have the space to explain. Qiao Zhao finally knew how to write the word, depressed. His whole heart was locked in a door. He wanted to go out, but the slanted door bolt on the upper left corner couldn't be straightened. Boss, your movie has been confirmed. It will be released on the first day of the new year. Jing Shu rushed into Qiao Zhao's office excitedly. It's finally released. It's been delayed for so long. Qiao Zhao was also a little happy. His first movie was finally going to be released. Previously, director Lin had asked him to watch the sample with him. He felt that his acting was not bad. This was his first movie and it meant a lot to him. Qiao Zhao was also looking forward to it. He looked at the location on his phone. Yenran had already been in 10 cities, but there was no sign of her returning to Nanchuan. Qiao Zhao didn't stop sending messages every day, but it returned to its previous state. It was not bad if she could reply to 1 out of every 100 messages. But sometimes, he would receive missions from Yenran. It was only then that he was very happy. Yenran still remembered him. In the blink of an eye, almost 2 months had passed. It was almost the end of the year and the new year. No matter what, he had to pull Yenran back. Boss, there's a very important gathering for the upper echelons of the entertainment industry. Director Lin sent you an invitation. He asked you to attend and do some publicity for your new movie. Jing Shu looked at the absent-minded Qiao Zhao and handed him a beautiful letter. Qiao Zhao opened it. It said that he was invited to attend with a female companion. The venue was a certain hotel in Beifong City. Qiao Zhao was suddenly excited. He took a photo of the invitation and sent it to Yenran. My dear girlfriend, are you free to accompany me to this banquet? This time, Yenran replied quickly. I don't think I'm free. Qiao Xiao gloomily threw the invitation away. Jing Shu looked at her willful boss and could only persuade him earnestly. Lady Boss is not free. I'll find you a female companion. But you must attend this event. Otherwise, Director Lin will be angry. Qiao Xiao helplessly waved his hand. You arrange it as you see fit. The entire Star Entertainment Company from top to bottom was busy for Qiao Xiao to attend the banquet. The most important thing was to find a female companion and custom-made clothes for him. After several rounds of screening, Qiao Xiao was not satisfied with the female companion. He later simply said, Jing Shu, you accompany me. Jing Shu quickly waved her hand. I'm your mother's fan, not your girlfriend's fan. Qiao Xiao simply didn't care. Okay, you arrange it yourself. Don't let me look over it. Remember to change clothes and wait for me at the door on the day of the party. In this way, the highly anticipated entertainment industry high-level gathering quietly arrived. When it comes to the entertainment industry, the most sensitive should be the paparazzi. This annual high-level gathering was a rather secretive existence, but there was always some internal news that would be leaked in advance. Those entertainment reporters with quite long noses have long been eyeing this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. From here, they can dig out some potential inside stories of the entertainment industry. It's not about celebrity scandals, but about high-level movements, as well as the guests who may be invited, indicating how popular they will be in the future. Therefore, Director Lin repeatedly asked and confirmed with Qiao Xiao that he must be present at the scene. On this day, the entire hotel's entrance was directly cordoned off. Luxury cars drove into the underground parking lot. There was a special elevator for these big shots. When Qiao Xiao walked out of the elevator, he saw a beautifully dressed woman at the exit. She tilted her head slightly at him, smiled sweetly, and wittily said, Brother Qiao, today I'm your female companion. Don't dislike me. He saw that this beautiful woman was wearing an exquisite light pink short-shouldered evening gown. It was studded with broken diamonds, revealing one of her lustrous shoulders. Her plump breasts were sharp and of moderate size, gradually narrowing from the chest to the waistline and connecting with the flat lower abdomen in front of her, narrowing into an extremely thin waist. The evening gown only reached 2 inches above her knees. Her 2 straight legs were white and slender, and she wore a pair of 10 centimeters high pink high-heeled shoes with broken diamonds. Her whole person looked delicate, cute, and extremely beautiful. At this time, this beautiful woman blinked her eyes, which were larger than ordinary people's, and tilted her head to look at Qiao Xiao. Qiao Xiao felt as if 10,000 grass mud horses were flying over his head. This damned Jing Shu, why did she actually find Wu Mei to be his female companion? Last time, Yen ran and he had a quarrel because of her. Now, she really touched the pot that didn't boil. But at this time, Qiao Xiao looked at the splendid decoration in the hall. The crowd in 2s and 3s had already looked in the direction of the elevator. He could only pull out a smile, took his arm, and said to Wu Mei, I'm honored. Then he saw Wu Mei raise a bright and shy smile. She secretly glanced at Qiao Xiao and whispered, I was afraid that you would be unhappy. Qiao Xiao didn't say anything. Wu Mei held Qiao Xiao's arm and walked in like this. Soon, most people's eyes were attracted to them. Qiao Xiao was born to be a shining point. Today, Jing Shu had prepared a white suit for him, which was quite high profile and eye-catching. Ordinary people couldn't easily wear white. But who was Qiao Xiao? He was born to be a walking model. Coupled with his delicate facial features and lazy aura, he was particularly prominent in the crowd, overshadowing the delicate and beautiful elegance of Wu Mei next to him. Director Lin smiled and stepped forward. Oh, my male lead is finally here. He patted Qiao Xiao's shoulder. There's only one invitation. You don't even have a chance to be the female lead. You should get to know the upper class well. It'll be good for your career. Qiao Xiao smiled and agreed. Hello, Director Lin. I'm Wu Mei. Nice to meet you. When Wu Mei saw Director Lin, her eyes lit up and her face was overflowing with a smile. Director Lin glanced at Wu Mei and nodded politely. Then Xiao Xiao directly said to Wu Mei, "You go eat something. Director Lin and I will go socialize." Wu Mei obediently walked to the side and then watched Director Lin lead Xiao Xiao around the entire hall. For many of the upper class, this was the first time they saw Xiao Xiao in person. Their eyes all lit up. This young man, if placed in the entertainment industry where handsome men and beautiful women prevailed, could rush to the top of the throne. People who were good-looking were likable. On top of that, Xiao Xiao's mouth was sweet and he was strongly recommended by a famous director in the industry. Everyone had a deep impression of Xiao Xiao and expressed that they would definitely support Director Lin's new movie. After Xiao Xiao walked around, he was flushed with success. There were more and more people surrounding him. Xiao Xiao felt that the spiritual energy in his circle of friends was rising. Xiao Xiao was like a magnet. Soon, there was a group of people around him and laughter could be heard. At this time, Wu Mei squeezed in from the side and said sweetly, "Brother Xiao, I saw that your wine glass was empty, so I got you another one." After saying that, she handed over the wine glass in her hand. "Thank you." Xiao Xiao took the wine glass and didn't say anything. Wu Mei started to take the initiative to greet the people around her. She was like a shy little bird. "Hello everyone, I'm Xiao Xiao's female companion." At this time, everyone's eyes were focused on Wu Mei. They were all using their eyes to assess something. "This little girl looks very unfamiliar. What movie have you acted in?" A lady's voice sounded. Chapter 267. Wu Mei blushed slightly in front of so many people. "I shot an advertisement with Brother Qiao." "Oh. Shooting an advertisement and you can be today's female companion? Little girl, you're quite capable." After saying that, the woman looked at Xiao Xiao with ridicule. Wu Mei's face turned red. Xiao Xiao looked at Wu Mei. After all, she was his female companion. If she lost face, she would also lose face. "Sister, please forgive this little girl. The company arranged it." At this moment, Wu Mei suddenly lost her balance. Her hand trembled, and the wine in her hand spilled out toward the woman who spoke. The woman exclaimed and moved to the side, directly pushing Xiao Xiao away. Wu Mei accidentally bumped into Xiao Xiao's arms. Xiao Xiao quickly caught Wu Mei. Wu Mei took the opportunity to reach into Xiao Xiao's open suit jacket and hugged Xiao Xiao's waist. Her head leaned on Xiao Xiao's chest. Xiao Xiao slightly frowned, but didn't say anything. He helped Wu Mei stand up and pulled her hands away from his waist. Wu Mei kept apologizing. "Sorry, I lost my balance." Xiao Xiao could only comfort her. It's okay. Be careful." "Yanran, why aren't you walking? I'll take you to eat something." When Xiao Xiao abruptly raised his eyes, he discovered that the person he had been thinking about day and night was standing in front of him. At this moment, she was looking at him coldly, and beside her was a middle-aged man who was about to gently hold her small hand. Xiao Xiao was stunned for a moment. Then, he strode forward and grabbed Yanran's hand. He happily said, "Yanran, why are you here?" Yanran didn't say anything, but the middle-aged man next to her frowned. "Yanran, is this your friend?" At this moment, Xiao Xiao saw the man next to her. The man's tailored beige suit set off the man's imposing appearance. His handsome and domineering facial features were full of the aura of a king. At this moment, his deep and serene eyes were faintly looking at Xiao Xiao. Because of the long-term frown, there were faint wrinkles between his eyebrows, which made him look more mature. Xiao Xiao saw a kind of provocation in his eyes. But in the blink of an eye, he heard his gentle voice. "Yanran, let's go. I'll introduce you to the cabinet." At this moment, Yanran actually pulled her hand out of Xiao Xiao's grasp. She turned around and grabbed the middle-aged man's arm. "I still have something to do." Xiao Xiao was petrified on the spot. Looking at Yanran and the middle-aged man's backs, he wanted to rush up again, but at this moment, Director Lin walked up and pulled Xiao Xiao back. What happened? At this moment, Qiao Zhao's eyes were like an awl. The man's back had been pierced countless times by him, especially the arm that Yen Ran was holding. He really wanted to just dismember it. He came back to his senses and forced a smile at Director Lin. It's nothing. That's your girlfriend, right? I've seen her on set once. Don't lose your composure in this situation. Pay attention to your image. If there's anything you want to say, we'll talk when we get back, Director Lin whispered in his ear. Qiao Xiao calmed down, but he was no longer in the mood to mingle with this group of people. He walked to a corner, grabbed a glass of wine, sat down, and slowly drank. From time to time, people came up to talk to him, but they all walked away when he replied indifferently. Qiao Xiao just stared at Yen Ran and the man as they shuttled through the crowd. Yen Ran was still very cold and basically didn't talk much, but the man seemed to be very popular. Many people came up to him and took the initiative to talk to him. The man raised his glass frequently, and those who came to toast with him all took the initiative to lower the rim of their glass to show their respect for the middle-aged man. Yen Ran, on the other hand, just slightly raised her glass and nodded politely. Qiao Xiao sat for a while, then stood up and sat next to a woman who had surrounded him just now. He took the initiative to talk to her. The woman was flattered and chatted happily with Qiao Xiao. Qiao Xiao soon found out that the middle-aged man's surname was Zhou. Everyone called him Minister Zhou. He was a high-ranking official in the country and had the power to kill in the entire entertainment industry. It wasn't easy to wait until the end of the banquet. Qiao Xiao watched Yen Ran and the middle-aged man get off the elevator. He called Wu Mei and told her that he was leaving. As soon as they got out of the elevator, they disappeared. He jumped into a car and followed Yen Ran's car closely. Only when they reached the entrance of a 5-star hotel did Yen Ran get out of the car. The middle-aged man said something in Yen Ran's ear. Yen Ran leaned back and avoided him. Then, she walked into the hotel. Qiao Xiao looked at Minister Zhou and smiled mysteriously. After getting into the car, he left. Qiao Xiao paid the fare and quickly jumped out of the car. He took out his phone and opened Yen Ran's location. He quickly locked onto the door of room 3426. Qiao Xiao didn't enter from the main door. Instead, he climbed out through the window at the top of the corridor. Like a gecko, he climbed along the wall to the balcony of room 3426. He saw Yen Ran sitting on the sofa with her hand supporting her head. She frowned and looked like she was in pain. Qiao Xiao opened the window and jumped in. Yen Ran alertly waved her spiritual power. Qiao Xiao quickly formed a guard seal in front of his chest. He rolled from the side to Yen Ran's side and pulled her into his arms. Yen Ran raised her hand. But when she saw that it was Qiao Xiao, she lowered her hand weakly and continued to press her head. At this time, Qiao Xiao said in a muffled voice, "Yen Ran, do you have a headache from missing me?" Yen Ran ignored him. Qiao Xiao hugged Yen Ran tightly. He reached out and pressed on Yen Ran's temples. He released a wave of devil chi and gently massaged her. Yen Ran's headache finally got a lot better. When she saw Qiao Xiao at the banquet, she immediately flared up. Her head hurt, and she forced a smile throughout the banquet, dealing with one smiling face after another. Occasionally, she would glance at Qiao Xiao and see that he was chatting happily with another woman. Her heart was stuffed with anger, and it was uncomfortable to hold it in. "Yen Ran, who is that man? Why is he so intimate with you?" Qiao Xiao finally couldn't help but ask sourly. Yen Ran didn't pay attention to him at all. She was still flustered and didn't say anything. She just enjoyed Qiao Zhao's massage wholeheartedly. Qiao Xiao looked at Yen Ran with her eyes closed and didn't speak. He shook Yen Ran's shoulder fiercely. Ran, say something." Yen Ran was shaken open her eyes. She stared fixedly at Qiao Zhao's angry face with murderous intent. She asked word by word, "Who is that girl? Why are you so intimate with her?" Qiao Xiao looked at Yen Ran, who had a strong aura, and immediately became a little scared. He became incomparably clumsy. "Yen Ran, she is the one who filmed the advertisement with me last time. I don't know what happened to her. Just now, she spilled the red wine in the glass. After a long time, he didn't explain clearly. Yenran closed her eyes in disappointment. She only heard Xiao Xiao say one last sentence. She is an insignificant person. Then Xiao Xiao took a deep breath, and his tone was a little bad. Then that man, who is he? Yenran closed her eyes and didn't want to speak at all. Her head was still faintly swollen. Xiao Xiao asked anxiously. Yenran was a little annoyed by him, and her tone was a little bad. What does he have to do with you? Of course he has something to do with me. My woman is already holding his arm. Don't you think it has nothing to do with me? Xiao Xiao couldn't help but raise his voice. Yenran immediately opened her eyes and replied in a bad tone, That woman is already holding your waist, and you still say it has nothing to do with you? I just explained that it was an accident. I also told you that he has nothing to do with you. In the space, Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming were originally watching the drama. At this time, they lowered their heads and covered their ears, for fear of being implicated. It seems that they are really quarreling. They are really quarreling. Yenran, why are you so unreasonable? I have nothing to do with her, but you are flirting with another man. It is obviously you flirting with another man. I have seen you flirting with another man twice. Both times were accidents. I have already explained it. What did the man downstairs say in your ear? Did he want to go upstairs with you? Am I such a casual person like you? He's always cuddling with girls. I have never been casual. I have never been close to other women except for you. But you have an affair behind my back. Where have you been for the past 2 months? Did you fool around with this man? It's over. Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming covered their ears. These two are going to fight. Will they throw us out when they fight? When Xiao Xiao heard Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming's voices, he was worried that he had nowhere to vent his anger. He pulled the bracelet on his hand and slammed it on the ground. Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming shouted in the bracelet, and then the two were directly thrown under the sofa. Yenran looked at Xiao Xiao's actions and became angry. She picked up a book on the table and threw it at Xiao Xiao. She did not realize that she was no longer the cold and noble Yenran, but a little girl who was throwing a tantrum in love. Xiao Xiao's young master temper was fully exposed at this moment. The two of them took the things in the room and threw them at each other. Later, Yenran could not find anything at hand, so she grabbed the pillow on the bed and threw it at Xiao Xiao's head. Xiao Xiao was not to be outdone. He grabbed another pillow and threw it at Yenran's pillow. Just like this, the two of them went back and forth like children. They did not use any spiritual power or magic power. They just fought like ordinary people. In the end, the quilt was torn, the bed sheets were torn, and the pillows were torn to pieces. In the end, cotton was all over the room. Their hair and clothes were all covered with cotton, and they looked like two snowmen. Finally, the two of them could no longer find anything to vent their anger. Yenran suddenly threw Xiao Xiao onto the bed and sat on him. She gasped and said, "Do you admit your mistake? Did you flirt with another girl?" Xiao Xiao looked at Yenran, looking down at him like a queen. He was dissatisfied. He turned over and pressed Yenran under him and sat on top of her. "Do you admit your mistake? Did you flirt with this man?" Yenran was so angry that her lungs were about to explode. She tried to flip Xiao Xiao over again, but this time, Xiao Xiao pressed down on her and did not let her move. Then Yenran heard Xiao Xiao say, "It seems that I can't take it anymore. You disobedient little mouth. Don't say such hateful words again." Chapter 268. After that, Xiao Xiao lowered his head and kissed Yenran fiercely. However, Yenran was in a fit of anger. How could she let him kiss her so easily? The two of them engaged in a battle of words, using all kinds of strategies and tactics to attack the other party's territory. They vowed to make the other party surrender under their lips and tongue. Neither of them gave way to the other. They used all their strength to entangle with each other. Their hands and feet were not idle. They desperately suppressed each other, as if whoever could hold the other in place would be the winner of this battle. It was unknown who took the initiative to make a move, but there was a sound of clothes being torn. Both of them suddenly stopped, and then a louder sound of tearing rang out, waving flags and shouting in their ears. The battle became more and more intense. In the end, the two of them rolled from the bed to the ground, and then from the ground back to the bed. Words of harm could no longer be said. The torn clothes floated all over the room. In the end, only the sound of the two people's continuous breathing filled the entire room. Finally, the wind stopped and the clouds stopped. The two of them stopped fighting. The entanglement of lips and tongues became lingering necks. After a long time, a low laugh came from Xiao Zhao's chest. "Aran, I find that you are really jealous." At this time, Yanran's head did not hurt anymore, and her anger seemed to have dissipated. After venting, her whole body felt comfortable. "You are also jealous." Xiao Xiao raised his head and looked at Yanran with narrowed eyes and smiled. "Yanran, I think you remember me." "No." "Yanran, you are still stubborn. If you didn't remember, would you let me be so intimate with you?" After that, he signaled Yanran with his eyes to look at their bodies. At this time, Yanran realized that the clothes on the two of them had long been gone, and they were only wearing underwear. Her face was red. "Where is the quilt? Go and find the quilt." Xiao Xiao climbed out of bed. His attractive body was white and shining under the light. The perfect golden ratio body made Xiao Xiao deliberately walk in a big circle in the room. After looking at Yanran's blushing eyes with satisfaction, he picked up the quilt and threw it on the bed. Yanran quickly wrapped herself up tightly. Because of the uneven cotton wool, there was a clear dent in a part of her body. Xiao Xiao was stunned. It seemed that Yanran's body was missing a piece. He quickly got into the quilt and filled the gap. Looking at the flat bed, he was finally satisfied. After this ruckus, the two of them finally calmed down. Their hearts were as sticky as candy that couldn't be melted. "Aran, don't take that girl's matter to heart. It was really an accident. It was the first time someone drank too much and pulled her. Today, she didn't stand firm and almost fell. I helped her up. Nothing happened." Xiao Xiao calmly explained again. "That man is Minister Zhou, the one I told you about before. I've been busy cleaning up the aristocratic families in the East, so I've been running around outside. He said that he wanted me to take over the management of the cultivation world, so he brought me to a banquet like this to recognize people," Yanran said. "I wanted you to be my female companion before. You might as well come with me." Xiao Xiao snorted with dissatisfaction. "I was also temporarily arranged." Yanran helplessly explained. "Then why are you holding his arm?" Xiao Xiao still had a problem. "Isn't your female companion holding your arm in this kind of occasion?" Xiao Xiao remembered that Wu Mei was also holding his arm. He could only snort twice. "Aran, you ignored me for so long. I feel so wronged." Yanran suddenly remembered that the reason for the divorce was because they were too busy with work. They couldn't accompany each other and finally separated. If we were separated for a long time, would we break up? Don't even think about it. You have this kind of idea now mainly because you haven't remembered our past. We have suffered so much and suffered so much before we could be together. Anyway, I cherish it very much. When I was locked in the Yin-Yang formation, you were the only thing that kept me going. So, Yanran, quickly remember. You always make me feel uneasy. And that Minister Zhou, I feel that the way he looked at you was a bit strange. He looked at me with provocation. Does he have any ideas about you?" All of a sudden, Xiao Xiao guessed correctly. Yanran suddenly panicked. The corner of her mouth twitched. "No way, don't guess." Xiao Xiao gritted his teeth and said, "This old man, if he wants to be an old cow eating young grass, see if I don't peel his skin and pull out his tendons." Yanran was a little guilty. She shrank in the quilt. "Well, you can focus on your career. Is the movie about to be released? I will accompany you to the premiere." Xiao Zhao's hair was immediately smoothed. His hands under the quilt immediately became mischievous. He hugged Yanran from behind. "Aran, I know you are the best." Yanran was suddenly tickled by him and rolled in the quilt. The night was long. Qiao Xiao, who hadn't seen Yen Ran for almost 2 months, was not so easy to get rid of. He wanted to help Yen Ran recall their previous interactions. Pa! A slap landed on Wu Mei's face. Is this how you do your work? That's all you've done? What effect did it have? The 3 consecutive questions made Wu Mei, who was kneeling on the ground, lower her head even more. Director Zhou, this task is a little difficult. This Qiao Xiao doesn't take the bait at all. I think I am not charming enough. He doesn't like me at all. Wu Mei covered her face and said with grievance. You look pitiful, delicate, and easy to bully. Which man wouldn't like such a small appearance? Director Zhou walked forward, squinted his eyes, and pinched her chin, making Wu Mei raise her head stiffly. Director Zhou, but Qiao Xiao already has a girlfriend. He has someone else in his heart. Maybe he is not that interested in me. Wu Mei didn't dare to move. She could only maintain this position with her head stiffened and said, If he is not interested, can't you make him interested? Wu Mei bit her lower lip. Director Zhou, Qiao Xiao is too good-looking. No woman or man is better looking than him. He must be tired of looking at me. I can't attract his attention at all. Why don't you take advantage of his weakness? I think he likes to protect you. Director Zhou shook off Wu Mei's chin and turned back to sit on the sofa. Wu Mei just knelt in front of him. According to my observation, Qiao Xiao is a righteous person. If you really can't make him like you, then try to create more misunderstandings. It would be best if Yen Ran could see that you two are doing something indescribable. You have to remember that there is no man who doesn't like to cheat, but women can't tolerate it. Do your job well. If you don't do it well, you know the consequences. Wu Mei's whole body trembled. She didn't want to remember the punishment she had received. She looked at Director Zhou's extremely charming face and aura. Wasn't she attracted to him in the beginning? She didn't expect to become his tool. She didn't expect that her charm was almost 0 in front of Qiao Xiao. She tried several times but failed. She didn't take advantage of the opportunities Director Zhou arranged for her. It seemed that she had to be ruthless. Yen Ran had recently wiped out the remaining forces of the Eastern aristocratic family. Elder Yi and Ming Tian disappeared directly, and the only person left in the Eastern aristocratic family who had spiritual power was Yi Xuanfei. But after losing her spiritual power, she could no longer control the cultivators below. As the elixir gradually lost its effect, many cultivators finally woke up. At this time, the spies deployed by Yen Ran finally came into play. They kept spreading the evil deeds of the Eastern aristocratic family to the cultivators in the entire cultivation world. Without the obstruction of Elder Yi and Ming Tian, the news spread very smoothly. The cultivators were scared out of their wits by these evil deeds. They used to be part of it, but they were used by Elder Yi and Ming Tian for so many years without their knowledge. The cultivators of the Eastern aristocratic family were in a state of panic all day long. At this time, Yen Ran issued a new policy. As long as the crimes committed before were not particularly bad and they didn't know about it, they could be lightly punished or let bygones be bygones. But if they colluded with Elder Yi and Ming Tian, after being reported and verified, they would all be stripped of their spiritual power. So Yen Ran was very busy. She quickly set up a monitoring team to receive reports and investigate the facts. In the past few months, Yen Ran had been running all over the country, getting rid of all the original dregs in the cultivation world. Those who were confused by the elixir but eventually woke up were fined their salaries and given a small warning. As for those who were forced to participate without knowing anything, they were let bygones be bygones. Gao Feng calmly watched Yen Ran do all this. He knew that Yen Ran was very capable. Once again, he was glad that he made the right decision. If he put Yen Ran on the opposite side to protect the Eastern aristocratic family, he would definitely die without a burial place. Now, he only needed to deal with Yen Ran, and the world of cultivation would still be his. Everything could be done slowly. He was a patient hunter, and what he loved the most was to watch his prey jump to the highest point in his palm, and then be swallowed by him in one gulp. His policy towards Yen Ran was to moisten things silently. From his meticulous care for Yen Ran to his full support for her career, he wanted Yen Ran to be grateful to him unknowingly and rely on him. In addition, he would confess from time to time and make a strong attack that could not be refused. He believed that no matter how strong-willed a woman was, she would fall under his suit pants. As for Yen Ran's boyfriend, Xiao Xiao, he sneered at him at first sight. What was the use of being handsome? What could he give Yen Ran? What a woman needed most was not sex, but a man who understood her. Minister Zhou thought that he had seen all kinds of women after so many years in the field of flowers. For a woman like Yen Ran, he needed to find a suitable soul for her. He stood by the window and looked at the stars in the night sky. He remembered that once when Yen Ran encountered the resistance of the remnants of Mr. Yi, several people almost succeeded in a sneak attack with his secret help. Although he knew that Yen Ran would definitely be able to turn the tide, his timely appearance on the surface gave Yen Ran great help. When Yen Ran felt his strong spiritual power, the brilliance in her eyes was 30% respect, 30% gratitude, and 40% worship. But there was no love in it. It seemed that he still needed to work harder. Chapter 269. After Xiao Xiao and Yen Ran finished their night, Xiao Xiao returned to Nanchuan, while Yen Ran continued her career. Wu Mei thought of a way to follow Xiao Xiao back to Nanchuan, and then shamelessly stayed in Xiao Xiao's Star Entertainment, saying that she wanted to become an artist. Xiao Xiao didn't have a good impression of Wu Mei. She made Yen Ran misunderstand him time and time again, and directly ordered Zhang Deong to drive her away. But the boss was willful, but the general manager couldn't be willful. Wu Mei's background was very strong, and it was directly given to her by the higher-ups. If she wanted to survive in the entertainment industry, sometimes she had to pinch her nose. Xiao Xiao, under Zhang Deong's repeated brainwashing, could only temporarily let Wu Mei stay. But he directly told Jing Shu, "Don't arrange any programs for me and her. He can't afford to offend her, but can't he just hide?" Yen Ran directly flew to a small town called Yunchuan. Yi Zhuofan, an accomplice of old Yi from the eastern aristocratic families, fled here. She came here to dissolve his spiritual power. This time, she didn't bring anyone, and came here alone. She was now playing a game of cat and mouse. The mouse ran very fast, but under her relentless pursuit, the mouse couldn't escape. The whole mountain area was the only place he could go, and Yen Ran wanted to drag the mouse out of the continuous hills. This person had a high position in the eastern aristocratic families. He didn't have a clear position, but his relationship with old Yi and Ming Tian wasn't shallow. On the surface, he was only the financial director of Jiutian Technology, but in fact, he was the treasury of the entire eastern aristocratic families. After Yen Ran received many reports and personally investigated, she found that this person was very important. The ultimate source of all the crimes with the eastern aristocratic families was the missing money. From Yen Ran's investigation, it could be seen that the eastern aristocratic families had embezzled tens of billions of money over the years. However, from their accounts, it could be seen that the money was hidden in the accounts of investments, receivables, or other assets. In the end, the money went through a lot of transfers and finally disappeared. Previously, Yen Ran had investigated a trading company that was very suspicious. They had made a lot of fake orders and paid a lot of money to outsiders. Therefore, Yen Ran had always wanted to get the money back, but the key person had already escaped. After she told Minister Zhou about her discovery, Minister Zhou fully supported her and wanted to catch the person. Minister Zhou said carelessly, "We have to get the money back even if we have to torture him." So Yen Ran followed various clues to Yunchuan City. What Yen Ran didn't know was that Department Head Zhou didn't know about this person's existence. After learning the results of Yen Ran's investigation, he was more anxious than anyone else. He had to get rid of this person before Yen Ran. He originally thought that in the eastern aristocratic families, only old Yi and Ming Tian knew about their dealings, but this person was very likely to be one of the insiders. Yen Ran looked at the continuous mountains in front of her. She was sure that a few hours ago, a villager saw a man in a black jacket running here. That was the person she was looking for. The sky gradually darkened. It was already evening, but Yenran hadn't eaten yet. The mountains were not very high, and they were continuous. From a distance, it looked like a crouching giant beast that would open its bloody mouth at any time to welcome people who entered it. With a few ups and downs, Yenran jumped directly into it. She carefully observed the only entrance to the mountain. There was basically no road, only a relatively wide path winding up. It could be seen that very few people had set foot on it. At this time, on both sides of the blurry path, many branches were broken. It could be imagined that people who were running in a hurry would accidentally trip or their clothes would be hooked. They would fall and crawl into the deep mountain forest, trying to get the protection of the giant beast. Yenron's calm mind worked quickly. She stopped, held her breath, and probed into the depths of the mountain forest with her psychic sense. An invisible big net spread out around under Yenron's urging. Some sensitive small animals felt something strange and began to flee. Several birds flew directly into the sky. Yenran sighed in her heart that humans' perception could never be compared with that of animals. She continued to explore and spread the net wider. As she expected, there was no trace of people near the only road up the mountain. The broken branches on both sides of the road were simply camouflage. It seemed that this person had some skills. No wonder he was the core figure of the Eastern aristocratic families. What Yenran didn't expect was that she overestimated the person who was running for his life. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Minister Zhou had already caught up with Yenran. In order to delay Yenran's footsteps, he had set up several camouflage around the mountain. Yenran quickly changed direction and ran towards another mountain range. Her figure could only be seen shuttling back and forth in the forest, like an eagle gliding at a low altitude. Her speed was extremely fast and full of beauty. In a few breaths, she had already arrived at the mountainside of another mountain. She spread her big net again, and the tentacles of her psychic sense crazily extended along the ground, shuttling through the dense trees. There was no one in the east, west, south, or north. Yenran frowned. With her speed, she should be able to find the target in this mountain forest soon, but why couldn't she lock on? Could it be that she had missed something? She simply withdrew her psychic sense and flew around the whole mountain forest according to a certain pattern. When she found the second suspicious place, she found that it was another camouflage. Yenran narrowed her eyes. This person was playing a game with her, but this made her more certain that this person must be nearby. She withdrew her breath and continued to fly at a low altitude. When she found the third camouflage, she found the pattern. This was a special tactical array. The four directions of the north, south, east, and west were respectively built with camouflage, and her psychic sense could only be included in the square ground between these four vertices. If she wanted to explore further, she had to break this tactical array. This was only a low-level tactical array. It could be seen that the person who came was in a hurry and didn't have time to arrange it more perfectly. Yenran sneered and took out the little star in her palm. A silver light suddenly appeared, and as Yenran silently recited the incantation in her heart, the little star slowly rotated in the air, emitting a faint silver light. Then it turned into 9 small silver swords, the sharp edges of the swords glistening in the night light. Yenran said, "Go," and 4 of the small swords heard the bugle call to charge and quickly flew to the north, south, east, and west. After a while, they slowly flew back with the fruits of victory and returned to their companions with smiles. Yenran put away the little star. This thing was really useful. This time, the scene was obviously different. It was no longer a dense forest, but a road that was flattened by people fleeing in panic. Very quickly, Yenran locked onto a road that extended towards the northwest. She quickly dashed over, and sure enough, it didn't take long for her to see the target who was fleeing in panic. Yenran threw a rope and tied Yi Zhuofan tightly. "Where do you think you're going?" Yenran's voice came from behind Yi Zhuofan, sounding like a demon from hell. Yi Zhuofan rolled on the ground and hit his head on a rock, bleeding from his forehead. But he didn't care at all. He still wanted to struggle and continue to crawl forward. Yenran walked forward and stepped on his back. Yi Zhuofan's body writhed like a worm as he looked at Yenran in terror, Don't kill me, don't kill me. I didn't do it. Do you think you can get away? Yenran's cold voice sounded. I'll give you two choices. First, I'll destroy all of your spiritual power and send you directly to jail. Second, you tell me where the money went and find a way to help me get the money back. Then I'll destroy your spiritual power, but I won't let you go to jail. I don't want to go to prison. It's death. I know it's unforgivable. Yi Fan was like a little beast, whimpering and shivering on the ground. If you know it's a death sentence, why did you help them? Spare me. Elder Yi is our clan head. He told me to do it. He ordered me to do it. If I didn't do it, he would have killed me. Where the hell did he take the money to? Tell me the truth. Yenran increased the pressure on her foot and Yi Fan's bones creaked, as if they were about to break. Yi Fan screamed and his head was covered in cold sweat. After a minute, he gasped for breath. I'll talk. Stop stepping, it hurts. Humph. Talk. It's to a casino outside the country. Yi Fan was out of breath as he spat out these words. How much was sent? Yenran pressed and increased the pressure on her foot. About 30 billion. It's been quite a few years. Why did your Eastern clan open a casino outside the border? We didn't open it. The money was earned for someone else. Yenran never heard that money was earned for someone else. She found it strange. She thought about the Eastern clan's capital chain and couldn't think of any other possibility. While she was thinking, the pressure on her foot loosened a bit. Yi Fan felt the pressure on his body lessen. He stealthily took out something from his sleeve. Heroin, I think my ribs are broken. They pierced my lungs. Let me turn around. Yenran squinted. Don't play games. Tell me the truth. Who did you earn this money for? She kicked him in the waist and sent him rolling on the ground. In that split second, Yi Fan sprinkled some powder from his hand and a sharp dagger flew from his other hand, aiming for Yenran's chest. Chapter 270. Yenran was hit by the powder and held her breath. She leaned back and activated her spiritual power. Just as the dagger was about to be deflected, a man jumped out from the side and pounced on Yenran. He pushed her to the ground and exposed her back to the dagger. With a puff, the dagger pierced through his back, and Yenran was directly overwhelmed by this sudden force. A heavy man's body covered her body without any gap. The man's head hung on her shoulder, and there was a force that could resist Yenran's spiritual power, suppressing her hands and feet and making her unable to move. Yenran was shocked. In a trance, she smelled a familiar male perfume. She tried to tilt her head to see that it was the mature, steady, and decent Shangfeng on her lips. At this time, Shangfeng turned his head and his masculine breath hit her in the face. His elegant lips brushed against Yenran's rose petals and he whispered in the corner of her mouth, Yenran, I'm late. Are you all right? Yenran was so embarrassed that she immediately tried to push him away. After struggling for a while, Shangfeng finally let go of her body and rolled to the side. At the same time, she let out a hissing sound. Yenran sat up and saw Yi Fan lying 5 meters away, bleeding from all 7 orifices. He couldn't be any more dead. Yenran checked and found that Yi Fan's heart was shattered by spiritual power and he died on the spot. Her hands trembled. In her belief, she would never execute a human being so casually. She also hoped to find out where the money went and hand him over to the country's law for punishment. But now, all clues had been cut off. She heard staggering footsteps behind her. Yenran, I'm sorry. I was in too much of a hurry to save you. I lost control of my spiritual power and saw him swing the dagger at you. My heart was in chaos and I didn't know what to do. Yenran didn't know what to say. She lowered her head and didn't say anything. After a while, she said, Then I'll bury him. Department head Zhou stopped Yenran. I'll have someone take care of it. You don't need to worry about it. You haven't eaten yet, right? I'll take you to dinner. The two of them silently walked down the mountain. Before they had even taken 2 steps, The sound of a heavy object falling to the ground came from behind Yenran. Yenran was shocked. She looked back and saw that the domineering man had actually fallen to the ground. At this time, she discovered that the blood on his back had soaked his clothes and was seeping out from the inside out. "Shangfeng, you're hurt." Yenran cried in shock. He raised his head and forced a smile at Yenran. "I'm sorry. I wanted to push you down, but I forgot about the dagger on my back." Yenran was so anxious that she couldn't care about anything else. She lifted up the clothes on her back, revealing her amber-colored sexy back muscles. Her tight back lines narrowed from wide to narrow, just like a high-end streamlined sports car, causing people to daydream. And on this sexy back, a dagger was inserted in the upper position. Blood flowed down the entire skin, drawing a spiderweb-like blood-red pattern. Yenran said nervously, "Shangfeng, why didn't you tell me you were hurt?" Shangfeng lowered his head and said with shame, "I'm not good enough and did something wrong. It's good enough that you didn't blame me. I didn't want to cause you more trouble." "Then you have to pull the dagger out now. Otherwise, there will be problems. We're still far from the hospital." Yenran said anxiously. "Then won't I have to trouble you again?" Shangfeng's voice became softer and softer. He looked at Yenran with eyes full of love. "How can there be trouble? You were hurt because you saved me. I have an obligation to take care of you," Yenran said while biting her lips. "Then your boyfriend won't be happy if you treat me, right?" Yenran thought of Qiao Zhao's jealousy, but she couldn't leave him in the lurch. She lowered her head and bit her lips. "I won't tell him. This is a normal treatment. It's not a big deal." "Okay, Yenran. Then I'll have to trouble you. Just treat me like a patient." Yenran then realized that everything was not that simple. She first helped Shangfeng up and sat him down on a smooth stone. Then, under Shangfeng's signal, she helped him take off his upper body. His perfect amber male body was strong and powerful. Time did not leave any traces on his body. Instead, it made him look more mature and sexy. Although Qiao Zhao's body was perfect, it was too white. The color of Shangfeng's skin satisfied most girls' preference for amber. His 8 packs were neatly arranged and extended to his lower abdomen. Yenran quickly closed her eyes and turned behind Shangfeng. She took a deep breath and said, "I'll help you pull out the dagger right away. Then I'll use my spiritual power to help you seal the surrounding acupoints. It might be a little painful. You have to bear with it." "Yenran, wait a minute. I'm afraid I won't be able to bear it. Can you come to my side? If I can't bear it, can I hug you?" Yenran was a little hesitant. She lowered her head and didn't say anything. "Yenran, don't misunderstand. I don't want to take advantage of you. It's just a request from an ordinary patient. This can also stabilize my body." Shangfeng's eyes were clear and without any evil thoughts. He looked at Yenran earnestly. Yenran took a deep breath and said to herself, "He's a patient. He was injured because he saved me." So she stood in front of Shangfeng and wrapped her arms around his shoulders. She held the dagger with both hands and said, "When I pull it out later, it must be vertical. There can't be any deviation. At the same time, I'll immediately seal the acupoints on your back. Remember, you can't move at all." Shangfeng nodded and gently hugged Yenran's slender waist. Then he said in a voice that only he could hear, "Yenran, your waist is so thin. I can hug it with one hand." Yenran's body stiffened. But at this time, she was riding a tiger and couldn't get off. She could only let him hug her waist. "I'll shout 3 times. I'll pull it out. 1, 2, 3. When Yenran counted to 3, she pulled her hands up. As the dagger was pulled out, she felt Shangfeng's body suddenly tighten. Then her body was instantly hugged by a strong force. Shangfeng's face was pressed against her chest. Her whole body was hugged by him. The force was so strong that her whole body was about to be embedded in his body. Yenran knew that it must be painful. She didn't care about anything else and quickly looked for the acupoints on his back. But after all, she was holding on to Shangfeng, so she could only rely on herself to figure it out. Just when she finally found it and sealed the acupuncture point, she felt that her collar had been rubbed open, and Xiangfeng's lips were crazily rubbing against her neck. Yanran suddenly pushed Xiangfeng away and took a step back. She quickly adjusted her neckline. Xiangfeng was pushed to the ground by Yanran. He fell to the ground and hit the wound on his back. Blood instantly spurted out. Xiangfeng cried out in pain. Only then did Yanran realize what she had done. She quickly helped Xiangfeng up and said, "I'm sorry." Xiangfeng panted and said with a bitter smile, "I'm sorry, Yanran. I was too rash. It was too painful just now. The fragrance on your body was like a sedative. I could only endure the pain by diverting my attention. I'm very useless. I want to learn from Guan Yunchang, but I can't do it." Yanran secretly scolded herself for being too sensitive. Her heart was full of guilt. She walked behind Xiangfeng and checked his wound. She used her spiritual power to stop the bleeding again. "This won't do. I have to find a way to bandage it. Wait for me here. I'll go down the mountain to find some gauze. Otherwise, it will be infected." Yanran used her spiritual power and flew down the mountain to find equipment. She didn't see that behind her, Xiangfeng had a proud smile on his face. He took back the phone that he had deliberately placed on the branch when he fell and opened the video he had just recorded. It was really memorable. Yanran helped him pull out the dagger, and he greatly enjoyed the soft body of Yanran. At that time, his two knees clamped Yanran's entire body in his arms. His naked upper body was close to Yanran's chest. His lips and tongue were wreaking havoc on Yanran's neck. And Yanran's arms were wrapped around him. She was still stretching her head forward. From the video, it seemed that they were very cooperative. This time bomb must be kept well. At the critical moment, it will be a head-on blow to her little boyfriend. Yanran, when the time comes, won't you obediently throw yourself into the embrace of Xiangfeng that you admire? Fortunately, he had arrived in time and managed to kill Yi Zhuo before Yanran. He didn't expect that he would have exposed himself. It seemed that even the heavens were on his side. His entire palm still had a lingering fragrance. So soft, haha. When Yanran returned, she saw Xiangfeng leaning weakly on the branch. His upper body was still naked. His muscular body was well defined. His head was slightly tilted and his face was pale. Yanran walked up to him and asked in a low voice, "Xiangfeng, are you okay?" Xiangfeng opened his eyes and the corner of his pale mouth twitched. "I'm fine, just a bit lonely." "Let me help you bandage it." "All right." Yanran picked up the long gauze and compared it to the front and back for a long time. She didn't know where to start. Suddenly, an image flashed in her mind. It seemed that she was also injured and Xiao Xiao wrapped her hands like a dumpling. Her back was also smeared with medicine. Yanran's head suddenly throbbed. Her head tilted and her body swayed. Xiangfeng held her and asked with concern, "What's wrong, Yanran?" "Nothing, I just have a headache." "You probably haven't eaten. Let's hurry down the mountain. I don't want my queen of the cultivation world to tire herself out." His pampering words came out as natural as breathing. Yanran gathered her thoughts and focused on bandaging Xiangfeng. Bandaging naturally involved touching. Xiangfeng looked at Yanran's blushing face as she wrapped his body. He joked, "Yanran, I've been touched by you. What are you going to do with me?" Yanran got up and spoke sternly, "Xiangfeng, don't joke like that. It'll be awkward." Xiangfeng leaned lazily on the branch. "Yanran, my heart was stolen. I can't get it back. What do I do?" Chapter 271. Yanran obviously felt that something was wrong with Xiangfeng. He seemed to be confessing and teasing her, which made her feel a little overwhelmed. Yanran was a girl with a low EQ, but she was also a stubborn person. Her relationship with Xiao Xiao had once again entered the fast lane. She didn't want Xiao Xiao to misunderstand, so after sending Xiangfeng to the hospital, she immediately left and devoted herself to her work. It wasn't until a week before New Year's Eve that she returned to Nanchuan under the repeated urging of Qiao Xiao to accompany him to celebrate the New Year and attend the premiere of Qiao Xiao's movie. The school had long been on holiday. Yanran came back midway to complete the formalities. Her college days would be over in half a year. Now she was so busy that her feet didn't touch the ground. She didn't have the slightest intention to take the postgraduate entrance exam. But after she knew that Qiao Xiao had been recommended for postgraduate studies, she was sincerely happy for him. Xiao, you're great. Your academic qualifications are finally higher than mine. You've become a real top student. Qiao Xiao picked Yanran up and spun around 3 times. Ran, your Xiao will get better and better. I'll make you proud of me. Sure enough, Qiao Xiao was getting better and better. His first movie was about to be released. Before the new year, Star Entertainment made a lot of publicity for this movie. The premiere was scheduled to be held a week before the global release of the new year. And this day was the day that Qiao Xiao pestered Yanran to accompany him. The name of the movie was finally set as The Call. The call was taken from the movie's male lead, Jiang Hao, in the radio station calling for everyone to stand up and fight against the evil forces. The call that echoed over the campus again and again aroused the justice in everyone's heart. It also positioned the movie as a rare and excellent youth inspirational movie. A 3-minute movie promotional video was played on the big screen. The beginning was the scene of Qiao Xiao saving the female lead. The two ran hand in hand through the corner of the street, while a group of gangsters with sticks chased after them. The girl's face was full of horror, and Jiang Hao, who had just arrived, was arrogant and fearless. Then the picture directly turned to the scene of Jiang Hao being beaten on the ground, and then quickly cut into everyone's expressions and lines. Some were frightened, some were vicious, some were weak, and some were begging for mercy. In the constantly flashing pictures, there was no end, leaving the audience infinite imagination. Next, let's invite the film's male lead, Qiao Xiao, to the stage. Yanran looked at Qiao Xiao, who was wearing a decent suit, and strode onto the stage. At this moment, the stars were flying, and the passionate music sounded. All the lights on the stage were concentrated on Qiao Xiao, making him, a moving luminous body, even more dazzling and dazzling. There was a thunderous applause in the audience. It was an affirmation of the movie, and more importantly, it was an expectation for Qiao Xiao. I like this movie very much. It satisfied my hero complex. The protagonist, Jiang Hao, from the initial ignorance, finally became the embodiment of justice. I think everyone should fall in love with him. I hope you forget that I am Qiao Xiao, and really remember that there is another kind of person in this world, and their name is Jiang Hao. And what I want to call out is that Jiang Hao seems to be far away, but in fact, he lives in everyone's heart. As long as you are willing, you are Jiang Hao. Yanran was full of pride for Qiao Xiao. Every word was said in her heart. As long as anyone was willing, they could be Jiang Hao. Although Qiao Xiao was the prince of the devil world, he had already influenced a group of people around him with his practical actions. In real life, Qiao Xiao was Jiang Hao. There were some premieres next. After that, they directly watched the premiere of the movie on the spot. This was the moment that Qiao Xiao was most looking forward to, because he held his first work in front of Yanran with both hands. He hoped to become Yanran's pride. The lights dimmed, and the movie began to play. At the beginning of the movie, the youthful Jiang Hao rode a bicycle to the school to report. He greeted the birds along the way, helped the old man by the roadside push the cart, helped the aunties who were dancing in the square adjust the sound system, and walked into the classroom happily. In his imagination, the campus was the most youthful and beautiful existence. He was full of expectations for the new campus life. He greeted the students around him very kindly, but gradually he found that there was a group of people on campus who always had their eyes on the top of their heads, and there was a group of people who always stared at the shoes. Since he entered the campus, because of his appearance, half of the people liked him, and the other half were jealous. Soon, many things happened that surprised him. One day, when he was on his way to the radio station, he met a girl who was being bullied by a group of people. Without a second thought, he went up and beat the group of people until they were looking for their teeth on the ground. His movements were clean and quick. With a few cool blocks, coupled with powerful downward slashes and backflips, the director directly filmed it in slow motion. The live audience at the scene watched Xiao Zhao's movements and jumps with surging emotions. They were extremely excited. At this time, Yanran whispered in Xiao Zhao's ear, "Well done." The most successful thing about Xiao Zhao in this movie was that he really treated himself as Zhang Hao. Every time Zhang Hao encountered a character or an event that happened, his psychological state was vividly expressed through his facial expressions, actions, or the description of the surrounding environment. The audience could feel the changes in Zhang Hao's psychological state through Xiao Zhao's acting. Soon, it was the part where Xiao Zhao was abused the most fiercely. Someone next to him made a low sobbing sound. Yanran took the initiative to take Xiao Zhao's hand and pinched his palm hard. Xiao Zhao knew that Yanran felt sorry for him. His heart was like a gurgling stream, and it was warm. Then the movie gradually reached its climax. After Zhang Hao passed the lowest point, he did not bend his spine. Instead, he supported his trembling knees and stood up desperately. He walked step by step to the radio station with difficulty. He wanted to expose this evil to the whole school. At this time, Xiao Zhao turned his head and saw Yanran's eyes glistening with tears. Xiao Zhao couldn't bear to see her sad. He approached Yanran's ear and said, "Don't be sad. I'll fight back later." Yanran was about to answer when the custom-made phone in her pocket, which was given to her by her superior, buzzed. She opened it and saw only a line of words on it. It was urgent. "Come quickly." There was a clue about the money. Yanran immediately became serious. Just as she was about to get up, she suddenly remembered that she was watching a movie. She looked at Xiao Zhao apologetically and said, "I'm sorry, Xiao Zhao. I have something urgent to do. I have to go first." Xiao Zhao was disappointed. "Can't you go after the movie?" "It's urgent. Call me." After that, she stood up and walked out quickly. Xiao Zhao didn't even have time to hold her hand. He also wanted to chase after her, but there were still reporters after the movie. He couldn't get away at all. He looked at Yanran's disappearing back and felt really sad. If it was still the Yanran from before who hadn't forgotten him, she wouldn't have left on this occasion. The movie continued, and Xiao Zhao was no longer in the mood. The flashing pictures on the big screen were all his painstaking efforts. Yanran had really changed. She had become ruthless. "Brother Qiao, can I sit here?" Xiao Zhao's thoughts were interrupted. He saw Wu Mei bow and quietly walk to Yanran's seat. She squatted beside his knees and asked in a low voice. Xiao Zhao was absent-minded. "Sit down." In the second half of the movie, Wu Mei accompanied Xiao Zhao to watch. Wu Mei made a comment or two from time to time, all of which were praises. In the end, Wu Mei said to Xiao Zhao with tears in her eyes, "Brother Qiao, I think Zhang Hao in the movie is really alive. In my eyes, you are no longer Xiao Zhao, but Zhang Hao." The movie finally finished playing under the melody of the theme song, Youth. In the end, Xiao Zhao's magnified smile was fixed under the red flag. Wu Mei said excitedly, "Brother Qiao, I spent a lot of effort and finally got a ticket. The most important thing is that I can sit with you and watch the premiere. I feel that my life is worth it. This is your first movie. It's your painstaking effort and deserves everyone's attention. Brother Qiao, Zhang Hao, you are really good at acting." Wu Mei's words made Xiao Zhao's mouth more bitter. He should have been happy. If it was Yanran who said that to him, he would be so happy. However, at least there was someone with him and he didn't have to watch the whole movie alone. "I'll go back to attend the press conference later. After that, there will be a dinner party. You can come with me." Xiao Zhao went directly to the press conference after he finished speaking. Wu Mei finally smiled proudly. Yanran rushed to the address given by the superior. It was the manor where she lived last time. The damaged house was repaired again. It was almost rebuilt on the spot, but it was more luxurious and modern. Yanran rushed in. The superior was standing in the living room drinking tea. When he saw Yanran, he smiled ambiguously. Yenran, I'm really sorry. I don't know if you are busy, but this person is too important. I'm afraid it will be too late in a while. Superior, you are my leader. There must be something important. I will come no matter how busy I am. Yenran replied respectfully. Yenran followed the superior to the basement of the building. There was nothing in the room except for a person curled up on the ground. This was an ordinary young man. He looked very ordinary and wouldn't leave any impression in a crowd. I spent a lot of effort to find this person. He is the real person in charge of the trading company. The superior pointed at the man on the ground. Yenran's eyes shined. This was the clue she had been following. Ever since Yi Zhuofan died, she thought this lead was broken. She searched everywhere but found no good news. Yi Zhuofan's words made her suspicious. Who is the real mastermind behind all this? The man on the ground heard the door open and immediately sat up. When he saw the person who came, his eyes showed fear. Don't kill me, don't kill me. I beg you, I will tell you everything. Chapter 272. Go ahead. Tell me everything you know. If you're wrong, don't even think about walking out of this room. His superior warned him coldly. Yenran carefully observed the man. There were no visible wounds on his body, but his right calf was hanging on the ground at an unimaginable angle. Although he was sitting, his right calf was turned outwards. His left hand's pinky and middle finger couldn't be clenched into a fist. It was obvious they were broken. Yenran tilted her head and asked, "Is he human?" "No, he's a cultivator. I already dissolved his spiritual power." Yenran nodded. "Speak." "We're a shell company set up by the Eastern clan. Our main business is international trade, but in fact, we send money abroad through fake foreign trade orders. To put it bluntly, we're just a bank." "How much have you transferred in total?" 30 to 40 billion over the years. "Where did the money go?" "The money went to a casino outside the country, but we don't know where the money went." "Who contacted you?" "Usually, Ming Tian contacted me directly, or Yi Zhuofan. Occasionally, Elder Yi gave me orders." "Don't you know this is illegal?" The man sitting on the ground smiled bitterly. "Wealth comes from danger. Who doesn't want to make more money? But I heard that Elder Yi didn't make much from it. He was helping a higher-up do this, mainly because that higher-up was greedy." "Which higher-up?" Yenran stared at the man's eyes. "If I tell you, you must protect my life and send me abroad. Otherwise, I'll die a horrible death." The man on the ground suddenly became hysterical. Yenran looked at her superior. Her superior spoke, "If you tell us the truth, we can guarantee your life. I don't know if you know him, but it's a department head surnamed Tian. He seems to have been in charge of the cultivation world." Yenran was shocked. She had heard her grandfather mention this Minister Tian before. He used to be the leader of their cultivation world. At this time, Shangfeng suddenly flicked his finger and a spiritual power flew out, directly hitting that person's knee. The man on the ground let out a blood-curdling scream. His knees were trembling, and his whole body was shaking like a sieve. His superior said, "You actually dare to slander Minister Tian? Are you tired of living?" It took a long time for the man on the ground to recover. He shouted even more wildly, "It's him. I'm not mistaken. Elder Yi and the others had a few meetings before. I heard them secretly. You said you would save my life. Why are you torturing me now? I'm just an ordinary human. Shouldn't you protect me?" She stared at Yenran and Shangfeng with resentment. Shangfeng wanted to seal his mouth, but Yenran grabbed his hand and said, "I think what he said might be true. I know this Minister Tian." Shangfeng grabbed Yenran and said, "Let's talk outside." Then he waved his sleeve, and the man on the ground fainted. The two went back to the living room. Shangfeng poured a cup of tea for Yenran and said, "This Minister Tian is my predecessor. It's reasonable to say that he's my leader. I don't believe he would do such a thing." You can't judge a book by its cover. This person has been in charge of the cultivation world. If he has any bad intentions and hits it off with the Eastern aristocratic family, it's easy for him to do something. Yenran pinched her eyebrows and said, "If that's the case, I really don't know what to do." This was what Xiangfeng wanted to hear from Yenran. He didn't find someone to put on this show for nothing. "Yenran, don't worry. Although you don't have many methods, I'll definitely report his crimes." The case of the Eastern aristocratic family was very praised by the higher-ups. They said they would give you a reward. But now it's difficult. Since Minister Tian was held accountable, he directly applied for retirement. He's currently abroad. Yenran angrily punched the sofa and said, "It seems that he's now guarding his casino outside the country and living a happy life. Now we only have witnesses and no physical evidence. It's quite difficult to convict him." "You're right. It's very difficult. But Yenran, as cultivators, we have to punish Yongshan. How can we let him go unpunished? I'll find a way to find time to go abroad. No matter what, Yenran, I will definitely help you get your revenge." The superior's words were sincere, and his intentions were stern. Yenran looked into Xiangfeng's eyes and nodded gratefully. "Yenran, what do you think?" Xiangfeng took another sip of tea and suddenly changed the topic. "Think about what?" Yenran didn't follow his train of thought at all. "Think about me. Do I have the qualifications to be your boyfriend?" Xiangfeng's gentle voice wanted to penetrate Yenran's heart. Yenran suddenly choked and said, "I'm sorry, Xiangfeng. Don't joke around. I have a boyfriend." "Yenran, I've told you before. Finding a boyfriend and getting married are two different things. A boyfriend is just a temporary interest. Marriage is a lifelong thing. You must find someone who matches your soul and has a common language. That way, your life won't be boring. I don't know about you, but Yenran, I feel that I've found the other half of my soul." Xiangfeng stood up and sat beside Yenran. "Yenran, you're so beautiful. Don't miss a man like me who puts you at the top of his heart because of a moment of softness." He grabbed Yenran's small hand and rubbed it in his palm. Yenran jerked back, but was held down tightly by Xiangfeng. "Yenran, you can't keep running away. We've been working together for a while now. From the first time I confessed to you until now, don't you know my heart?" Xiangfeng's voice was getting lower and lower as it gradually approached Yenran. "You touched me naked last time. You can't not take responsibility." Yenran bounced up from the sofa and stepped back, stammering, "Xiangfeng, I respect you as my leader, but I don't want our relationship to become like this. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first." Xiangfeng's eyes were filled with hurt. "Yenran, are you so heartless? Haven't I treated you well enough? What can that little boyfriend of yours give you? Hormones? Isn't that too shallow? If you want it, I can give it to you." Xiangfeng used his spiritual power and pulled Yenran into his arms. Yenran was caught off guard and was caught by him. Xiangfeng's strength was very strong, and Yenran couldn't move in an instant. Yenran shouted nervously, "Xiangfeng, let go of me." "Yenran, I really don't want to. People say that between a man and a woman, one has to take the initiative, and a woman's heart will always be with the first man. Yenran, let me be your first and last man, okay?" Xiangfeng's bewitching words sounded in Yenran's ears. Yenran was so nervous that her whole body trembled. She had never encountered such a thing before. This was her leader, her respected elder. Why did it become like this? Xiangfeng looked at the hesitant Yenran and suddenly asked, "Do you already have your first man?" Yenran replied reflexively, "No." Xiangfeng held her in his arms and smiled in a low voice. "Yenran, you have a good impression of me. Follow your heart, okay? I will treat you with great respect. If you are willing, I will take you. If you are not willing, I will not force you." Xiangfeng cast a love net and covered Yenran in it. Yenran only felt a splitting headache. Xiangfeng's words kept echoing in her mind. She had a good impression of him. It seemed that, but she already had Xiao Xiao. Countless images hit the blocked meridians in her mind. If she hadn't been fixed in Xiongfeng's arms at this time, she would have been rolling on the ground with a headache. She was in so much pain that she couldn't speak. She closed her eyes in pain and frowned. She just faintly heard Xiongfeng say in her ear, "Yanran, if you don't refuse, it means that you agree. I will make you a real woman today, the happiest woman in the world." After that, he directly picked up Yanran and walked to the bedroom on the second floor. Yanran struggled desperately in this love net. The surrounding air made her feel suffocated. She desperately bit her lower lip, trying to relieve the pain. She couldn't help but think of Qiao Zhao's evil spirit, which was a good medicine to relieve her pain. Yanran had a headache and didn't notice that she had been carried to the bedroom and gently placed on the big bed. Xiongfeng had begun to take off his clothes. It would be her turn soon. Soon she felt a finger in her mouth. "Yanran, don't be nervous. Look, you are so nervous that you are going to bite your lip." However, Yanran suddenly bit down. Xiongfeng was caught off guard and was bitten directly. Blood immediately gushed out of his finger. At this time, Xiongfeng realized that something was wrong with Yanran. He quickly took out his finger and found that Yanran's head was full of sweat. "Yanran, are you so hot? Let me help you take off your clothes, okay?" At this moment, Yanran's mind was full of Qiao Zhao's evil spirit. Xiongfeng made trouble on her body and aroused her resistance. Although Xiongfeng's spiritual power was strong, it was the same as Yanran's realm. Just now, she was caught off guard, and it was not difficult for her to break free. Yanran only felt that her body was cold. Her coat had been taken off. It was a change in this position. The shackles on her body were loosened for a moment. Yanran's spiritual power suddenly burst out, and she jumped from the bed. She was in so much pain that she couldn't stand. Holding the bedside, she swayed for a moment. When she opened her eyes, she found that Xiongfeng's shirt buttons had been unbuttoned, revealing his strong chest. At this time, he was looking at her in surprise. Yanran quickly picked up her coat and reluctantly bowed to Xiongfeng. "I'm sorry, Xiongfeng. I'm a little uncomfortable. I'll go first." Seeing Yanran running away from him like the plague, Xiongfeng felt a burst of depression in his heart. His charm had been reduced to such a degree. Was he really old? He stood in front of the mirror and looked at his well-proportioned body. Although he was not as young as Qiao Zhao, he had the charm of a mature man. Sure enough, it was more difficult to pursue a good girl, unlike those who came and went as they pleased. However, it seemed that Yanran was not very disgusted. It was just that Qiao Zhao's weight in her heart was not light. It seemed that he still had to think of a way. This damn Wu Mei was really useless. Chapter 273. Qiao Zhao's press conference was quite successful. As the male lead, he naturally received a lot of attention. After answering a few questions related to the movie and striking a few poses, he excused himself early with the excuse that he still had something to do. Qiao Zhao came to the dressing room. At this time, there was no one inside. He threw himself onto the sofa with a lonely expression. He sat like this for a while. When he turned his head, he saw an open pack of cigarettes on the table beside him. Qiao Zhao never smoked, but at this moment, the white cigarette with a yellow but seemed to have some kind of magic, attracting him to take out one and light it up. Qiao Zhao narrowed his eyes and took a deep breath. However, the unfamiliar smell of the cigarette immediately choked his throat. Qiao Zhao violently coughed, and just like that, physiological fluid seeped out of the corner of his eyes. At this time, the door of the dressing room was gently pushed open. Qiao Zhao immediately put out the cigarette in his hand. When he saw the person who came in, he saw a delicate face. It was Wu Mei. Qiao Zhao continued to lazily lie on the sofa without making a sound. "Brother Qiao, I've been looking everywhere for you. They said that your press conference is over and you can go eat." Wu Mei looked at Qiao Zhao listlessly and said softly, "N." Qiao Zhao weakly replied, "Brother Qiao, are you not feeling well? Do you want me to give you a massage? I've learned it before." Wu Mei saw that Qiao Xiao did not object. She directly sat down beside Qiao Zhao's head and put her thighs under his head. Her two hands gently massaged his temples, one stroke after another. The intensity was moderate, allowing Qiao Xiao to comfortably close his eyes. "Brother Qiao, let me massage your shoulders again." Wu Mei paused for a moment and directly pinched Qiao Zhao's shoulders with both hands. Her two small hands were like powerful little hammers, hammering, pinching, and drilling on Qiao Zhao's shoulders. Wu Mei did not speak. She just focused on the work at hand. In the dressing room, other than the sound of Wu Mei's hands touching Qiao Zhao's shoulders, there was only Qiao Zhao's light breathing. Yanran endured her headache and came back to find Qiao Xiao. After searching for a long time, she pushed open the dressing room door and saw this scene. Just as she was about to speak, she saw Wu Mei quickly put her index finger to her mouth and then pointed at Qiao Xiao, meaning that Qiao Xiao was asleep. She signaled Yanran not to make a sound and then continued with her work. A faint smile hung on Wu Mei's face. It was serene and peaceful, and Qiao Xiao, who was leaning on her thighs, was as perfect as a sleeping prince. This scene was too beautiful. It deeply stimulated Yanran. The faint smell of smoke in the room made her headache worse. She suddenly felt that she was an outsider. She endured the pain and closed the door of the dressing room. She just sat opposite the dressing room and leaned against the wall with her eyes closed. She didn't know what she was waiting for, but she didn't want to be too far away from Qiao Xiao. She convinced herself that Qiao Zhao's magic was her antidote. After a while, Qiao Xiao woke up. He opened his eyes and found that Wu Mei was still massaging his shoulders. He sat up and said, "Thank you. I feel much better. Let's go eat." Wu Mei nodded obediently and followed Qiao Xiao out. "Qiao Xiao, Yanran came to see you just now," the bracelet that Qiao Xiao had finally picked up hurriedly said. The interaction between Qiao Xiao and Yanran at the premiere made Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming feel like they were being strangled. The memory of being abandoned last time was still fresh in their minds. They didn't want to be abandoned again for no reason. Who knew if their master would remember to pick them up again? Qiao Zhao's footsteps paused. "Where is she?" "I don't know. When she came, she found you asleep. Wu Mei was massaging you, so she went out. She seemed very unhappy." Qiao Zhao's heart tightened. However, Yanran directly abandoned his premiere in the afternoon. It was really wrong. She couldn't wait even if there was something important. Yanran's way of doing things really made Qiao Zhao's heart cold. He knew that Yanran had lost her memory, but this couldn't be used as an excuse to hurt him. Unfortunately, as soon as Qiao Xiao came out of the room, he was immediately invited to a banquet by the staff. Qiao Xiao looked around and didn't see Yanran's figure. His heart was filled with anger. It was such a freak combination of factors. When he looked from the entrance of the dressing room to the opposite side, a round pillar blocked his line of sight. He missed the best opportunity for Qiao Xiao and Yanran to explain. There were about 6 tables in the banquet, and all of them were important figures and media reporters. Qiao Xiao had to socialize. However, he seemed to have something on his mind that night, so he drank to drown his sorrows. He didn't refuse anyone's toast. However, because of this, everyone saw that Qiao Xiao was so forthright, so more people came to propose a toast to the handsome guy. Qiao Xiao had a perfect smile on his face. He said some polite words and drank one cup after another. Jing Shu accompanied him and said worriedly, "Boss, you drank almost 2 caddies of white wine. Take it easy." Wu Mei came out of nowhere and pulled Jing Shu to the side. "Today is Brother Qiao's first movie. He's happy. Let him drink. I'll watch over him later. Sister Shu, you go do your work." Jing Shu and Zhang Deong were really busy. Everything needed to be taken care of. Therefore, she had to entrust Qiao Xiao to Wu Mei and told her in every possible way that she couldn't let anything happen to the boss. However, not long after Jing Shu left, Qiao Xiao felt uncomfortable. His stomach was churning, making him want to vomit. He forced himself to be calm and went to the bathroom. He hugged the toilet and vomited. His heart was beating so fast that it was about to come out of his throat. After Qiao Xiao finished vomiting, he leaned on the edge of the toilet. His stomach felt better, but his heart was even more uncomfortable. He closed his eyes and recalled his recent interactions with Yanran. The two lovers, who had always been in love with each other, began to quarrel over small matters. There were misunderstandings that couldn't be solved, and the snowball was getting bigger and bigger. Although they made up after the last quarrel, Yanran's heartless feeling was really King terrible. Yanran no longer cared about him as much as before. Although Yanran said that she knew that Qiao Xiao was her boyfriend, the actual love from her heart was almost terrible. She always focused on her career. After the collapse of the Eastern aristocratic family, Qiao Xiao thought that Yanran could put down the big stone in her heart, but he didn't expect that he would become a spare tire. Why was this spiritual transformation pill so terrible? Where did it put his good Yanran? Qiao Xiao's heart was sad. He looked at the small cubicle he was in and felt dizzy. He really wanted to beg God to return his Yanran. Even if he had to lose his devil aura, he didn't want Yanran to be by his side. His heart was separated by thousands of mountains and rivers. Brother Qiao, are you in there? Wu Mei's worried voice came from outside the bathroom. Qiao Xiao wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes. He stood up and washed his face with cold water. The moment he raised his head, he felt dizzy. It seemed that he really drank too much. He held onto the wall and walked out of the bathroom. How could the light above his head turn? Qiao Xiao felt as if he was stepping on cotton. With one foot up and one foot down, he fell onto Wu Mei, who was waiting at the door. Wu Mei immediately hugged Qiao Xiao. She was worried that she wouldn't be able to get close to Qiao Xiao. She didn't expect that the opportunity would come immediately. She helped Qiao Xiao to the sofa in the next room and laid him down. Brother Qiao, you rest first. I'll go get you a glass of water. When she came back with a glass of water, Qiao Xiao had already fallen asleep on the sofa. Wu Mei put down the glass of water and stretched her head to look at the corridor. There was no one. She quickly closed the door and locked it. She set her phone to selfie mode. Then, she directly went forward and unbuttoned her shirt. She put Qiao Xiao's hand on her face and his head on her chest. An incomparably erotic photo was taken. Then, she adjusted several positions and took a few more photos, each one bigger than the last. The most outrageous one was the photo of the two kissing. Her little tongue was hooked into Qiao Xiao's mouth. She tried for a long time but couldn't pry open Qiao Xiao's teeth. Wu Mei had no choice but to caress Qiao Xiao's lips. She sighed as she took the photo. Such a perfect man had fallen into her hands. It was really worth it. Wu Mei caressed Qiao Xiao's smooth and white face and neck. She trembled as she prepared to take off his sweater. Qiao Xiao opened his eyes and looked at the blurry girl in front of him. He called out uncertainly, "Yanran?" Then, he suddenly sat up and hugged Wu Mei. He said painfully, Aran, come back quickly. I can't take it anymore." Wu Mei knew that Qiao Xiao had mistaken her for someone else, so she decided to make the best of it. Hugging Qiao Xiao's back, she patted her gently. I'm back. Qiao Xiao heard these gentle words and his heart was excited. He tightly embedded Wu Mei into his body, but his lips and tongue were frantically searching for the source of his thirst. Wu Mei was ecstatic. This man finally took the initiative. She did not hesitate to offer her lips. Her lilac tongue sang the prelude of joy. She was about to experience the most extreme pleasure. Qiao Xiao's lips had already touched his desire, but at this moment, a burst of spiritual energy penetrated through the wall. Wu Mei felt as if his back had been ruthlessly smashed by a large iron hammer. His eyes rolled back and a mouthful of blood spurted out from his mouth, spraying all over Qiao Xiao's face. Qiao Xiao immediately woke up. He shook his head and looked at the woman in his arms. He was so scared that he immediately threw her aside. At this moment, he heard Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming calling him through the bracelet, "That's Wu Mei, wake up." The most tragic thing was that the originally locked door was somehow opened. A slender and enchanting figure walked in. Her face was as cold as 3 feet of ice. A spiritual power came over and tied Xiao Xiao to the sofa. Then, the figure walked to the phone on the side and flipped through the photos one by one. Because of the backlight and Xiao Xiao's head was really dizzy, he could not see who it was. After Yanran saw the photos, she was so angry that her whole body trembled. She directly burned the entire phone with her spiritual power. Xiao Xiao used the light of the sudden flame to finally see that it was Yanran. Chapter 274. Yanran didn't know what she was angry about, but if she didn't do anything, she would go crazy. She didn't say a word and directly turned to leave. Her mind replayed the photo of Xiao Xiao and Wu Mei over and over again, as well as the kiss she saw with her own eyes. If she hadn't interrupted them, would they have already rolled together? Yanran directly went to the back of the mountain. Wherever her spiritual power went, the entire treetop was flattened. The wind was a little strong, so Yanran directly vented her chi on the wind and directly blasted her spiritual power in the direction of the wind. The wind seemed to have sensed it and quickly fled behind Bai Yun. Even Yanran didn't like Bai Yun. Waves of spiritual power blasted towards the sky until she couldn't move anymore and her whole body lay on the ground. She felt an inexplicable throbbing pain in her heart. Her headache was so bad that she couldn't breathe. She pulled at her long hair with all her might, pulling out handfuls of hair, but it couldn't alleviate the pain at all. Devil Chi, I need Devil Chi. She desperately rolled on the ground, knocking her head against a nearby tree trunk until her forehead bled. Yanran touched the blood on her head and knew that she couldn't be so willful anymore. She simply sat down cross-legged, endured the pain, and began to cultivate the hibiscus chart. When cultivating the hibiscus chart, Yanran's spiritual power would be concentrated at one point, starting from her dantian and wandering in each meridian. It would expand the original meridian and challenge the limit through her spiritual power, thus making the meridian more tenacious and resistant to wear. At this time, Yanran's pain was her limit. Yanran directly gathered her spiritual power and attacked the blocked meridians in her brain. This was something she would do every time she cultivated, but she had never succeeded. However, today was different. Today, she was in so much pain that it was really unbearable. The blockage in her head was as stubborn as an iron nail, and Yanran's spiritual power was like an iron hammer, desperately smashing the iron nail. She didn't believe that she couldn't smash through it. She directly burned the spiritual power in her body, using the severe pain caused by the burning of her meridian to fight against the stubborn disease in her head. The flames formed by the high temperature were like lava blowing the bugle call, rushing towards Yanran's blockage. The iron nail was burned red, and as the temperature rose, a gap was opened little by little. As the last drop of iron melted, the iron nail finally turned into a pool of molten iron. Yanran suddenly screamed towards the sky, and the molten iron rushed along her meridian to other parts of her body. Yanran felt that her head was finally clear, and countless images and emotions rushed into her heart. Before she could digest them, the molten iron flowed down her meridian, burning the original spiritual power wherever it went. Yanran finally breathed a sigh of relief. Now it was simple. Just like how she usually used the hibiscus chart to cultivate and challenge the limit, the molten iron dispersed in the meridian of her body was too little. Yanran's army began to counterattack. After a few rounds, the molten iron was completely absorbed into her body, strengthening her meridian. Yanran finally recovered her memory. Xiao Xiao, whose face was covered in blood, was awakened by the roar of Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming from the bracelet. "Hurry up, you're dead." Xiao Xiao staggered out of the room and happened to meet Zhang Deong, who had just returned from sending the guests away. Zhang Deong grabbed him, but before he could say anything, he fell directly to the ground. Zhang Deong was shocked and immediately sent Xiao Xiao home. Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming tried to wake him up, but he didn't wake up. The two book spirits looked at each other and said, "It's over. This time, things have gotten out of hand." Just like that, this bitter couple lay in the back of the mountain for a night, and the other got drunk at home for a night. The after-effects of Yanran recovering her memory still gave her a headache the whole night, but she stubbornly refused to go find Xiao Xiao. Although she remembered the Xiao Xiao she loved deeply, she still remembered the night that made her heart broken. She would rather have her body hurt than her heart hurt. It was not until the next morning that she finally felt better. Those images were like poisonous snakes that constantly released poison into her body, causing her to directly resist facing Xiao Xiao. Therefore, Yanran went directly to another city to continue the reorganization of the cultivation world. She didn't even come back on the first day of the new year, not knowing whether she was running away from Xiao Xiao or herself. When Xiao Xiao woke up the next day, he found out everything from Kong Ming and Kong Xiaoming. He regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. He actually let Wu Mei take advantage of this loophole. He washed his lips countless times and only stopped when the skin was about to break. Where else? Where did she touch? Xiao Xiao shouted in the space. She touched your face and your body, but it was through your clothes. Kong Xiaoming shrank his neck and replied, What else? What did Yanran see? You were almost stripped naked by that perverted woman, and then you thought she was Yanran and wanted to kiss her crazily. Xiao Xiao squatted on the ground in despair and said, Did I kiss her? Almost. You should have, but Yanran saved you. Then what did Yanran do? Yanran looked at the phone that was recording and saw the poses you guys made. She was so angry that she destroyed the phone and left. After hearing this, Xiao Xiao directly lay on the ground and said, It's over. I'm not clean anymore. Yanran definitely doesn't want me anymore. Xiao Xiao lay for a while and suddenly remembered something. He quickly took out his phone and checked Yanran's location, but he didn't expect that Yanran's phone was turned off, and it had been turned off for 3 months. Xiao Xiao vented all his anger on Wu Mei. He directly fired Wu Mei, and Wu Mei cried and shouted, I like you, I just like you. What did I do wrong? Disappear from my sight as soon as possible, or I'll send you directly to the police station. How dare you record my face? Do you want to die? Don't think that I don't hit women. Xiao Xiao directly beat Wu Mei up with his own hands, making this woman lie in bed for half a month, and all her thoughts about Xiao Xiao were gone. On the first day of the new year, Xiao Xiao's movie was officially released. The pre-sales exceeded 100 million, the first day exceeded 200 million, and the first 7 hours of release exceeded 300 million. This youth drama was constantly creating miracles. The quality of the movie was excellent, and the acting skills of the actors were off the charts. It was worthy of the public's appreciation. The movie was touching because it touched the soul of education, exposed the courage in the dark corners of society, reflected the distorted side of society, and caused people to think deeply about the origin of the current social vulnerable groups. Xiao Xiao, who played the male lead of the movie, Jiang Hao, had a temperament that was absolutely in line with the character. He was cool, cold on the outside, but warm on the inside. Not every star with good looks could have such an effect. Some stars only had a face, but lacked a cold temperament. Xiao Xiao, through his wonderful performance, conveyed the complexity of a young man's heart to the audience, and at the same time, let his heroic spirit stay in everyone's heart. They felt that Xiao Xiao was Jiang Hao, and Jiang Hao was Xiao Xiao. It was a living story, a live-action documentary. The successful movie made Xiao Xiao walk to the top of the entertainment circle. Since Wu Mei failed the mission, she had completely become an abandoned pawn. However, he didn't receive more punishment, because he finally made some effort to cause a misunderstanding between Yanran and Xiao Xiao. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the management assigned more tasks to Yanran, so that she didn't have time to see Xiao Xiao, which also left some space for him. Just when Xiao Xiao was looking for Yanran all over the world, he received a video one day. The video was sent by an unknown person. Zhang Deong remembered Xiao Xiao's eyes that day, and felt that he couldn't wait to die on the spot. Xiao Xiao directly disassembled his mobile phone into pieces. When he went out of his office, the atmosphere was very gloomy, and he ignored everyone. After that, he disappeared for 3 days and 3 nights. When Zhang Deong walked into Xiao Xiao's office, he saw that it was a mess, and even the desk was a pile of powder. 3 days later, Xiao Xiao, who acted as if nothing had happened, came back. He pointed to the office and shouted at Zhang Deong, "Which son of a B***th did this to my office? Don't you know how to find someone to fix it? Are you looking down on me, the boss?" From that day onwards, Qiao Xiao stopped looking for Yen Ran and devoted himself to his work. However, he was obsessed with hacking. Yen Ran deliberately turned off her phone. She hid herself in a snail's shell and worked hard. In the past 3 months, she had reorganized the cultivation world into an iron bucket. She integrated the 4 major families in the East, South, West, and North according to the organization of the army. She personally looked at each cultivator, based on their past experience, their own cultivation, and her personal assessment. She fixed each person's post, fixed their salary, and formulated a reasonable promotion channel at the same time. She also set up a training school, and she was the principal. She regularly flew around the country to give local cultivators lectures and give them pointers to improve their own cultivation. Little Six had been following her all the time. Seeing that she was so busy, but there was no smile on her face, he couldn't help but feel anxious for her. "Sister Yen Ran, even a workaholic like you needs to have a rest. Look at how busy you are. Now you don't even have time to smile." The endless meetings and endless training made Yen Ran finally have no time to think about Qiao Xiao. She couldn't sleep well at night. As soon as she lay down, she would think of the things between Qiao Xiao and Wu Mei. She recalled carefully, as if there had been signs long ago. Qiao Xiao kept explaining that these women were the spiritual energy in his circle of friends. But spiritual energy should only exist in his circle of friends. Why did it develop into bed? Although Yen Ran had recovered her memory, she still had a headache. Every time she thought of that scene, she felt like her heart was being eaten by 10,000 ants. Her head would buzz with pain. She knew that only Qiao Zhao's demonic energy was the only good medicine to cure her headache. But she just didn't want to. She would rather endure it and have it flare up day by day than hurt her heart again. Little Six looked at Yen Ran and saw that she had lost weight. She was originally very thin, but now her cheekbones were protruding. Finally, one day, he couldn't hold it in anymore. He asked Yen Ran, "Do you want to take a break and go find Brother Qiao for a vacation?" "I don't know this person. Don't mention his name in front of me." After saying that, Yen Ran continued her training. But from the continuous screams coming from the training field, Little Six clearly felt that he knew the truth. It turned out that the problem was with Qiao Xiao. And when he sent a message to Qiao Xiao to ask, he didn't expect that Qiao Xiao only replied with one sentence. "Who is Yen Ran?" "I don't know." Little Six felt that he had encountered a collision between Mars and Earth. It turned out that the two of them were such good people. After going through so many hardships together, how did they become strangers? He looked at Yen Ran worriedly. What happened? Chapter 275. The relationship between Xiangfeng and Yen Ran was getting closer and closer. Since he sent the video of him and Yen Ran in the mountains to Qiao Xiao, he felt that he had already succeeded in half. Now, it all depended on his own efforts. He took advantage of his work to let Yen Ran report to him from time to time. He originally wanted to let Yen Ran report to him in person, but Yen Ran always said that she was very busy. After a few words on the phone, she hung up. Most of the work exchanges between the two were done through email and the original secret channel between them. He knew that Yen Ran was avoiding him, but Xiangfeng knew that the moment when a woman was betrayed by her lover was the moment when a woman needed comfort the most. He must seize the opportunity to walk into Yen Ran's heart. However, his identity was a bit sensitive. As the leader of the practitioners, his identity was strictly confidential. If Yen Ran refused to come, then he could only secretly go. Yen Ran was now a few cities away from him. He didn't know if his arrival would bring her a surprise. At night in Dongchuan City, in a manor in the suburbs, at the time of the spring equinox, everything woke up, accompanied by the spring warmth, blooming flowers, and sprouting green buds. It was the beautiful moment when Yen Ran's school began its new life. All the trainees had returned to their dormitory to rest after the evening class. Only Yenran was still sitting in the room, studying the next step of the plan. The layout of the room was somewhat simple. In addition to a camp bed and a desk, there was only a simple bathroom and bathroom. The composite floor on the ground was hard to step on. It was not as comfortable as Qiao Zhao's high-end wooden floor. Not to mention, there were also those hairy high-end floor mats. This was the military base built by Yenran. As the headmaster of the training school, she had a very high reputation in the cultivation world. All the practitioners had a kind of heartfelt worship and awe for this strict and cold headmaster. Yenran ate and lived with them. She did not put on airs, nor did she enjoy any special treatment. Every day, in addition to helping them improve their cultivation, she would also give them ideological and political lessons. This allowed this group of young cultivators to slowly understand the meaning of their lives and find their own beliefs, which were passed down by their fathers, but had gradually been forgotten by them. Yenran's famous saying, "A person without faith is like a life without a soul." As soon as Shangfeng entered the military base, a quaint and solemn atmosphere hit him in the face. He felt slightly uncomfortable. It had been a long time since he had experienced this feeling. When he was young, his family also had this quaint atmosphere. However, after he became an adult and went abroad to study, many of his thoughts had changed. He had long forgotten the beliefs passed down by his father. He had just gone abroad to study. Other than his own skills, his family was as poor as a church mouse. He could only rely on himself to work. Based on the belief that he would not harm humans, he had been bullied and humiliated. He had been struggling at the bottom of society overseas like an ant. Once, when he was working in a bar, he met a few people who drank a little too much. They said to him, "If you perform a unique skill, the $100 will be yours." The unique skill they asked him to perform was to drink while standing on his head. He had seen other waiters perform it before, so he could only do it. The taste was really uncomfortable. When he was forced to drink the third bottle of beer, someone secretly peed into the beer bottle and asked him to drink the fourth bottle. He was immediately overwhelmed by the fishy smell and smashed the bottle. He failed to stand on his head and fell to the ground. The audience next to him was unhappy and asked him to continue, but he was so disgusted that he spat out all the beer. The ground was a mess. Originally, the people below were laughing and waiting to see him make a fool of himself. They did not expect that there would be no fun. Those people began to scold, "What a bummer. You, a little waiter, dare to resist. Don't you want to work here?" Then, they picked up the bottle of urine and forced him to drink it. He was pressed to the ground with his mouth closed and peed all over his body. Later, the group of people felt that it was dirty. After beating him dozens of times, they left. He got up from the ground, wiped the blood from his mouth, and secretly followed them. He followed them into an alley and used his spiritual energy to knock everyone out. He then forced the leader of the group to drink a whole pool of urine. After that, he took all the money from them. It was really satisfying. From then on, he was out of control. He gradually realized the benefits that spiritual energy brought to him. At first, he still had the belief of punishing evil and promoting good. He felt that he was doing the right thing. Not only could he live a good life, but he could also prevent them from harming others. Later, he gradually became numb to this method. Money came too easily, and the people around him slowly gathered around him. All kinds of sugar-coated bullets were thrown at him and stuck to him. Ever since he was attracted by the pure face of his first love, he did more bad things. He finally knew that as long as a girl had enough money, there was nothing she could not do. Money was too important. Later on, he met a few friends who brought him to a wider world. As his abilities increased, he was more and more valued. Finally, one day, he was brought into an organization and promised to repay him handsomely. However, the condition was for him to return to China and be sent to the upper echelons of the organization to work for them. Power and status were all at his fingertips. It came too easily. What he had to do was to find like-minded people to help him steal information and find money. With his hard work and the support of the forces behind him, he successfully became the manager of the cultivation world. Originally, everything was going smoothly, except for the incompetence of the aristocratic families of the East. However, he didn't expect that the situation where he could cover the sky with one hand would be completely reversed by a girl. Xiangfeng's neck was now choked by Yanran. He was not sure if he could beat her, and it was not so easy to trick her. If he had not pretended to fully support Yanran, with Xiangfeng's understanding of Yanran, he would definitely fight to the death. Now that the situation had stabilized and Yanran's attention had been successfully diverted, the next step was to see his charm. He saw that only one room in the entire manor was lit. From the thin curtains, he could see a hazy and beautiful girl writing at the table. After a while, the girl rubbed her eyes, moved her shoulders, put down the pen, stood up, and stretched. A touch of white and tender skin stood out, and the enchanting figure was reflected in Xiangfeng's eyes through the curtains. It seemed to be a little hot. At this time, the girl took off her coat, picked up her pajamas, and walked to the bathroom. It seemed that she was ready to take a bath. When Yanran came out in her pajamas, she was still holding a bath towel in her hand to dry her hair. Her face was red from the steam. The weather had already warmed up. Yanran directly wore a spaghetti strap nightgown that was above her knees. Her two slender beautiful legs came out wearing slippers. The picture of a beauty coming out of the bath is really pleasing to the eye. The bass voice in the room sounded with a smile. Yanran was startled. At this time, she saw Xiangfeng leaning on her bed and looking at her with a smile. She quickly picked up her coat and covered it with her nightgown. Then, she awkwardly asked, "Xiangfeng, why are you here?" "Yanran, if I said that I missed you, would you believe me?" Xiangfeng's gentle eyes flashed, as if there were 7 colors flowing in them. "Xiangfeng, don't joke around. Can we talk about it tomorrow? There are differences between men and women." "I'm going to sleep," Yanran said solemnly. "Yanran, everyone else is asleep. There's no empty bed for me. Only your room has a light, so I came. Can you take me in for a night?" Xiangfeng pretended to be very pitiful. Yanran choked for a moment. "It's really not convenient." Unexpectedly, Xiangfeng directly took off his shoes and went to bed. He put the pillow on the bed and slightly closed his eyes. "Yanran, I'm so tired. I just finished a mission. Don't drive me away, okay?" Xiangfeng's tired expression and weak words immediately resonated with Yanran. The nature of their work was the same. Maybe Xiangfeng's mission was more difficult than hers. Yanran couldn't help but soften her heart. "Then I'll give you my room. I'll go somewhere else." Yanran was about to go out, but suddenly, a strong force pulled her back. She was shocked and wanted to use her spiritual power to resist, but Xiangfeng didn't trap her like before. Instead, he hugged her and put his head on her shoulder. "Yanran, I'm so tired. Can I borrow your shoulder to lean on?" Yanran listened to Xiangfeng's voice, which was low and weak. "Xiangfeng, what happened?" Xiangfeng was silent for a while. Just when Yanran thought he would not speak again, "Yanran, I almost died just now. I met a very difficult opponent. I thought I would never see you again." "What kind of opponent? Even you can't beat him?" Yanran wanted to push Xiangfeng's head away, but Xiangfeng suddenly hugged her tightly and didn't let her move. Yanran wanted to break free, but she heard Xiangfeng say again, "Yanran, at that moment, I thought of you. You are my biggest motivation to live. I haven't married you yet, so I can't die. I won't take the initiative to violate you. Don't worry, I just want to hug you and understand the heart of a survivor." At this time, Xiangfeng was very fragile. His body weight was leaning on Yanran's body, as if the burden of life had crushed him. Yanran was held stiffly. After a while, she raised her right hand and gently patted Xiangfeng's back to comfort him. "Xiangfeng, I don't know what you've experienced, but I've also had the same experience. I've been in danger, I've been in despair. As long as you can get through it, everything will be fine." Xiangfeng buried his face in Yanran's shoulder and the corners of his mouth curved slightly. He took a deep breath of the lavender around him. It seemed that the bitterness trick was indeed effective. He raised his head, and there was pain in his eyes. "Yanran, After I survived, the first thing I thought of was you. I didn't care about anything and came to you. I know it's very presumptuous, but I can't control my feet. I just want you to talk to me, okay? Yanran looked at Xiangfeng like this, and it was really hard for her to refuse. Xiangfeng, please take a seat first. I'll pour you a glass of water. After saying that, she walked to the table, took a cup, and poured a cup of warm water. Xiangfeng looked at the enchanting Yanran busying herself for him and admired it. The whole room was filled with the smell of lavender. He stood up and took off his coat. He only wore a shirt and unbuttoned 2 buttons, revealing his bronze chest. Chapter 276. Yanran, can I take a shower? Yes, but I don't have men's pajamas here. It's okay, a bath towel is enough. I'll make do with it first. I'm sweating all over from the fight just now. After Xiangfeng finished showering, Yanran saw that he only wrapped his lower body with a bath towel, and the water droplets on his hair slid down along his skin. Yanran suddenly felt that it was too eye-catching. Xiangfeng, you'd better put on your clothes. It's not very good. Xiangfeng looked at the clothes he had changed out of with disgust and said with grievance, Yanran, do you want me to wear them again? Yanran was suddenly speechless. If you feel uncomfortable, can I stay in bed? Yanran had to nod, but seeing Xiangfeng get into her quilt, Yanran felt uncomfortable all over. I must change the quilt tomorrow. Then Xiangfeng began to talk to her about the missions he had carried out. Some of them were true, and some were made up by him. The purpose was to make Yanran sympathize with him, feel sorry for him, admire him, and thus lower her defense against him. His voice was low and powerful, and the story was moving. Yanran, I just want you to know more about me. I'll show you how weak and embarrassing I was in the past. The dim yellow light shone on the corner of Xiangfeng's mouth. I don't want to hide anything from you. I want you to know everything about me. Only in this way can you make a correct assessment of whether you want to accept me or not. Xiangfeng, you and I are in a superior and subordinate relationship. I respect you and admire you, but I really can't fall in love with you. Yanran quickly stopped him. Yanran, are you still thinking about that little boyfriend who let you down? He's too good-looking. Even if he doesn't seduce others, others will seduce him. Think about it, why did I divorce before? Men and women will drift apart if they don't see each other for a long time. The nature of our work is like this. How many times can you be with him a year? He's young and vigorous. Can he keep his chastity for you? I've been through this before, and I've already experienced the pain of love once. I know that we can only find someone in our system to understand each other. Yanran, you have to think carefully. His words were neither fast nor slow, but they were like a heavy hammer hammering on Yanran's heart. She knew that her superiors were right. This was also the current situation between her and Xiao Xiao. The interaction between Wu Mei and Xiao Xiao was like a slap to her face. Even if she forgave him this time, would there be a second or third time? Just this time alone, she had tormented herself to the point of hiding in her tortoise shell. What about next time? Would there really be a next time? Seeing that Yanran was silent, Gao Feng took Yanran's hand. Yanran wanted to withdraw her hand, but he held it tightly. Yanran, I don't want you to go through the pain of love again. Look at my back. Gao Feng turned around, and Yanran saw that there was a long knife scar from his right shoulder to his left waist. Maybe because of the time, it had become very faint. This is the scar. When my wife divorced me, I was deeply shocked. I went to carry out a mission and was almost cut in half. Yanran trembled as she looked at the scar. It was very wide, and it destroyed the beauty of the whole back. Gao Feng turned around. Yanran, you are still young. I don't want you to go through the road I once walked. And now I am mature. I know what kind of future I want to give you. In the whole world of cultivation, only I am worthy of you. Yanran, be my woman and marry me. I will definitely give you the deepest happiness in the world. Gao Feng's words were too infectious. Yanran was so excited by the scene he described that her whole body trembled. Her head began to hurt again. Qiao Xiao said the words, "Marry me," to her, but she accidentally lost the diamond ring. Could it be that there was really no good ending between her and Qiao Xiao? Yanran's eyes were sour, and a line of tears slipped from the corner of her eyes. Gao Feng was overjoyed. It seemed that Yanran had listened to his words. He gently wiped Yanran's tears with his fingers. "Yanran, I hope this is the last time you cry for him. Let me take care of you in the future, okay?" Gao Feng felt that it would be a pity if he didn't win the Oscar. He put Yanran's hand to his lips and kissed it gently. At this time, Yanran's mind was shaking, and she had a headache, so she had no scruples at all. At this time, Gao Feng added the last dose of medicine. "Yanran, if you want to relieve your current pain, there is only one way." Yanran looked at him in a trance. "That is to divert your attention." "How?" Gao Feng kept tempting her. "As long as you kiss me, you will no longer be in pain." Yanran looked at the thin lips getting closer and closer to Gao Feng's face, gradually enlarging in front of her. For a moment, in front of Yanran's eyes, Gao Feng's face turned into Qiao Xiao's face, as if Qiao Xiao was conveying his love to her. But when their thin lips touched, Yanran suddenly realized that something was wrong. She immediately retreated, but it was too late. Gao Feng wouldn't let go of this opportunity. If a woman didn't force herself at the critical moment, then this man was too useless. Then Gao Feng's overwhelming kiss came down like a storm, drenching Yanran so much that she couldn't open her eyes. Yanran immediately wanted to resist with her spiritual power, but Gao Feng had long been prepared for this move and had already suppressed it with his spiritual power. He kept saying, "Yanran, give yourself to me, and you will no longer be in pain. Do you have the heart to refuse a person who loves you so much?" Yanran struggled desperately, but Gao Feng's strength was so great that with a rip, Yanran's thin pajamas were torn apart by him. Gao Feng looked at the beautiful scenery in front of him, and his eyes were red. "Yanran, you are so beautiful." At this time, Yanran's mind was clear. She only had one thought, and that was not to let him succeed. Yanran quickly chanted a spell in her heart, and the little blue star on the table suddenly lit up with dazzling light. According to the master's arrangement, it flew directly above the two people, and immediately put the head that was messing around on Yanran's body into it. Yanran pushed the person on top of her away, jumped out of bed, and looked down. Her coat was torn, and the suspender of her pajamas was also torn. It was too dangerous. Originally, Yanran thought that Gao Feng was really moved by her, but after waking up, she found that she seemed to have been in an illusion just now. She knew that in the cultivation world, there was a long-lost skill called the illusionary mind skill. If it weren't for her strong willpower, she would have been taken down by Gao Feng. Yanran under Gao Feng suddenly disappeared, and his eyes suddenly went blank. He realized that this was a formation, which was why he didn't fight with Yanran before. He slammed his fist on the ground. All his efforts had been for naught. This Yanran was too difficult to deal with. However, he believed that Yanran was moved by him. Maybe it was because of the education all the time, which made her not so open. He was not in a hurry. He just stayed in the space, step by step, and there would be a day when he could make her fall in love with him. Sure enough, Yanran released it early the next morning. He looked at Yanran with grievance. "Don't refuse me next time." Yanran's eyes flashed, and she respectfully sent him out of the school. 3 months later. Brother Chow, we've been getting a lot of resources recently. Which one do you like?" Zhang Deong rushed into Qiao Zhao's office excitedly. Qiao Zhao was very busy recently. After being stimulated by the video, he was obsessed with hacking skills. This inexplicable video made him dizzy for a moment, and he was so angry that he destroyed his mobile phone. He recognized at a glance that this person was Gao Feng. He and Yanran were actually... Yanran was sorry for him, but Qiao Zhao couldn't take this loss. So Qiao Zhao began his path of self-study. Yanran ignored him, and he didn't want to talk to Yanran. Although he was wrong, Yanran was also wrong. Therefore, Xiao Xiao decided to turn his attention to this area of research instead. He submitted the project to Professor He, and coincidentally, Professor He was also interested in this area of research. After applying for funding from the higher-ups, he waved his hand generously. Xiao Xiao, you can work on it with a few of your classmates. De Yong, I'm still a student right now. My studies are the most important. Can't I just let the artists under me do this? Zhang Deyong wanted to kneel in front of Xiao Xiao. Brother Xiao, they came to us because of you. If you assign them to the people under you, who will care about you? We are Xintian Entertainment, not Xiao Xiao Entertainment. You need to think of a way to make the artists under you popular. Come, call Jing Shu in for a meeting. After the meeting, Xiao Xiao rubbed his nose and had no choice but to draw lots to make the arrangements for the artists under him. He yelled at Zhang Deyong and Jing Shu, "Who's the boss? Do I even have any freedom? I'm already your employee." Zhang Deyong smiled brightly. Brother Xiao, it's not easy to pay employees. If you're willing to accept a few more jobs like Wu Mei, who has connections in this field, then it'll only be a matter of time before you become popular. Don't mention her to me. I'll beat her up every time I see her. Xiao Xiao twirled the pen in his hand. You guys had great reviews for your last commercial. If you don't want to star in this commercial, then continue to star in a movie. There's a pretty good script and I think it'll suit you quite well. It's a period drama with a mystery. Fine. I still need to research my project. Professor He is still waiting for me. I'll film a few commercials first. Also, Deyong, you basically disappear from the campus as soon as you start university. Will you be able to graduate successfully? Brother Xiao, don't worry. I'm a sports student to begin with. You don't have to worry about my degree. Isn't the point of getting a university degree so you can find a good job? I already have a good job now. Do you still want me to continue being a primary school PE teacher? Xiao Xiao thought about it and realized that was true. There were all sorts of experiences in the world and Zhang Deyong's path seemed to be the fastest one. You have the body of a sports student and the brain of a high IQ club. Zhang Deyong chuckled. Brother Xiao, how can I compare to you? I'm merely hugging onto your leg and running towards the goal of owning a mine. But you're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.